Come on. Sorry.
Hello, and welcome back to the 7 Minutes podcast. That is always at least 7 minutes.
Never been under.
No, definitely never been under. We're back. Every time we say it's not going to happen, it happens. Another long stint between episodes, but life gets the best of us.
Remember us from June?
Right?
Yeah, because it was right before the Switch 2 launch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds right.
So, good number of things have happened in the industry since, so we have plenty to talk about. We have our usual lineup of the fellows here. We have my hubby.
It's me, hubby.
Zach.
Can he be all our hubbies?
It's Hubsy.
And we're joined by all the cats.
Yeah, so next to Zach, going clockwise, Olive has decided she wants to just be around and be angry.
And
so
hiss at me the entire time.
Yeah, so poor Dom has to be a gracious host, gracious guest rather. And then we have Dom.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we have Robert.
My name is Robert.
And we have myself. We have myself, Angie, Angela, whichever. I don't
Angie,
care.
Angela.
Yeah. Angie to my family. Angela to everyone else who doesn't matter.
She's like Mario in the original Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah. Mario.
I thought your Angela was going to be your middle name.
No, I just I go by Angie at home, but I go by Angela at work, and so or professionally, whatever. So
There's probably some poor schmo out there whose birth certificate says Angie Angela on it.
Zach, what do you call Angie since she calls you hubby? Or should we not speak of that?
It's okay to leave some pet names to the imagination.
Alrighty. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
the basic one is baby. That's the
Yeah,
basic.
there's plenty of baby. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Baby and hubby.
Mm-hmm, hubby.
Very nicey. Mm-hmm. Robert, let's think of some nicknames for each other.
Beefy.
you got to earn that, man. Get back to the gym.
Well, as I said, we have plenty of things to talk about. Always start with what we've been playing, because that's the most important. And there's been a lot. A lot of things since June. And then we'll dive into current events. So just earlier this week, I believe it was announced that EA got bought and taken private. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss the whole Game Pass debacle. Has not been a popular decision by Xbox. What the heck else did I say we were going to talk about?
Our feelings on Switch 2.
Oh, yes. And our feelings on Switch 2 thus far. We may squeeze in just our quick little thoughts on the announcement about Nintendo Pictures. They've been around for a little while, but now it kind of seems like Nintendo is probably going to be investing more time and effort into them. So we'll talk about that real briefly. But yeah, I guess we will start with what we've been playing. Zach, why don't you kick us off?
Sure. I've played a lot, so I will selectively speed through some of it. The last time we recorded, I had just played the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster doing the 4-Job Fiesta Challenge.
I already forgot about that.
In the time since, I had, what I thought was a good enough time with that I went on to also do the Pixel Remasters of Final Fantasies 1 and 4 and 6. I don't think in that order. Things are all a little fuzzy. June was so long ago now. But I ended up appreciating, even though the aesthetics of those games have differed substantially from the NES and Super NES originals.
I'm going to cut you off. I have a question.
Yeah.
So what made you play the Pixel Remastered? Because I think when they launched, you were all about doing the emulator or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually remember... I thought I remembered some negativity on his part.
Oh, there was some negativity.
Yeah.
When the Pixel Remasters launched, they had atrocious fonts, and they also were too easy. In the time since, Square Enix has patched the fonts and added like CRT filter things, but also they added some like anti-boosters. So instead of getting like, quadruple or double experience, you can get half experience, which it turns out really makes the experience sharper. And I found myself having to actually play properly with different parts of the game that I was used to just like coasting through without really thinking about. So it's not as, none of those were as hard as like hard mode ROM hacks I've previously played. And I think those are probably more interesting on net for somebody who's already played one of these games. Mm-hmm. But it's a nice way to revisit them at kind of a vanilla plus sort of experience where it's a little harder, but not crazy hard.
Acceptable answer. Go on.
Thank you.
How authentic do they look? With the filters and the fixed fonts.
It definitely.
If you wanted to play the originals,
It varies. 4 and 5 closer. 4, 5, and 6 look closer because the pixel remasters are aping more of like a Super Nintendo aesthetic than an NES aesthetic. Final Fantasy 1 looks way off. Aesthetically, I still prefer the originals, or for 4, I think it would be between the Super Nintendo version or the PSP version. But they all still look good enough. It's like the chibi character art that I think suffers the most. The monster art still looks as great as it ever did. I won't say much about I did continue my Witcher 3 playthrough, but stopped when I got to Blood and Wine. It was a lot of Witcher 3, Played Front Mission 3 when that came out on Switch, that remake. It's kind of I ended up reviewing it for Nintendo Joe. The short version is it's kind of shoddy as a remake. It's a little buggy, but the design of Front Mission 3 is very RNG focused. Like randomness is just part of the game. So even though it was buggy, the bugginess kind of fit kind of easily into the Front Mission play experience in a way that it wouldn't have in a game where that was based around you being able to depend on the consequences of your actions. So it's almost more like like a roguelite where you can't depend on anything going a certain way in a given fight. There's some of that like feeling of randomness in Front Mission 3, so I still thought it worked, even if it was like substandard as a product.
You saw they added Front Mission 1 and 2 in the PlayStation Classics catalog? I don't know if you came across that.
No, I didn't come across that.
The first two.
No, I've played the first one previously.
Oh, okay.
I tried to play the second one, and I found it off-putting and difficult. Maybe I'll play it someday. Maybe I never will. But I think I would probably play 4 or 5 before I tried 2.
Jesus. Didn't know there were that many.
Oh, yeah. And then I played Ship of Harkinian, which is the PC decompiled, recompiled port of Ocarina of Time. So you can play it like in widescreen and 4K. And
interesting.
Yeah, I was shocked that even if it's one of Zach's weird mods, I was still shocked that he got anywhere near Ocarina of Time because our whole relationship has just been negativity towards my favorite game.
Yeah. So listen, it's still not my favorite Zelda, but it's the first time I played it since before Wind Waker came out. It was a good experience to go through. I do think it does have some X factor. Like I can respect the game, even if I don't really love it.
Angie, you'll take that.
Yeah, I will take that.
Yeah, but around.
By the time Zach finished his playthrough, I was surprised that I wasn't hearing, like a whole ton of negativity about the story. The most negativity I got was, and I expected it, was his playthrough of the Water Temple.
Water Temple does in fact suck. All the haters have been right all these years. And the Shadow Link fight is terrible.
The Dark Link fight is not the best. It is just, it's very tedious. I've always kind of felt like it was just kind of luck. It wasn't not really strategy.
I feel you. I've always used Din's Fire and the Megaton Hammer.
Yeah.
Those are the only things I did.
Yeah.
I showed.
I don't think I ever beat it legit in all my playthroughs.
Yeah, I showed Zach Din's Fire. I know I had suggested the hammer.
The hammer wasn't working for me, but I did manage to, what was it, like the weird knife sword thing?
The Bigoron sword.
The Bigoron sword. Mm-hmm. He's bad at countering that. But I did lean on Din's Fire as much as I could.
Yeah.
So you went way out of your way to get the big Goron sword before the Water Temple then.
Yeah.
Because don't you have to do a lot of...
yeah. The whole
don't you have to go to the desert at one point? Like...
No, I don't remember.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. I think the game peaks at the Forest Temple. I thought I was like getting lost just the right amount. That game, especially in the Forest Temple, has crazy atmosphere. The boss is super cool. I think that was the peak.
Yeah, the Forest Temple, Spirit Temple, and Shadow Temple are my favorite temples in the game. But what did you think of the Spirit Temple?
It's all right. Yeah, it was still probably on the upper half of temples.
You get the 2 coolest items in the game in the Spirit Temple, though. I love those. The Mirror Shield and the Gauntlets.
It has one of the best themes in the game. Really good temple music.
I'm sure you've played it on YouTube while I've been in the room many a time.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. What else is on the list of things I had played? Last year when we were doing our Game of the Year lists, I gave Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail kind of an asterisk of like, this hasn't made it on my list, but I'm going to enjoy it when this thing called Occult Crescent comes out. It came out this year, so I played that. I unfortunately think it wasn't as good as the corresponding content in Shadowbringers or Stormblood. It's just like missing some of the right calibrations and like, I don't know how to describe it exactly. I enjoyed it for a few weeks, but it didn't have the staying power that Eureka and the Southern Front did from previous expansions. So that was a bit of a disappointment. I will mention briefly, I returned to Assassin's Creed Shadows because the DLC, Claws of Awaji, came out.
Oh, that's why you've been playing it. I was wondering what made you fire it back up.
Yeah. And they also had added a new higher difficulty mode called Nightmare. So I was playing that too. I've been playing New Game Plus. I'm at a point where I still think they need another new difficulty on top of Nightmare mode because they just let you get so strong as you keep playing. But it is good. And Claws of Awaji in particular, I think probably has the best boss fight in the whole series and some really cool concepts that kind of harken back to Assassin's Creed Rogue, like a feeling of you being hunted rather than just being the hunter. And that stuff is really cool. It does do what I hoped in that it follows on from the story of the base game, but it's still not that interesting. So I'm a big fan of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but it's for the stealth gameplay and for the like beautiful naturalistic Japanese countryside, not for like the story or some other aspects of it. And then I guess I've been playing in the fall a lot of ninja games, like 2D ninja games.
A lot of ninja games.
Yeah.
Make sure you phrase this correctly. As part of Zack's ongoing Year of the Ninja coverage.
Yeah.
For real,
For
huh?
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this was prompted by the fact that like, you know, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound and Shinobi Art of Vengeance both came out this year, like revivals of old franchises. And I took that as a prompt to go explore a bunch of old ninja games that I hadn't played before. I played Ninja Gaiden 1 on the NES, but I'd never played 2 and 3 properly. I never played the old Shinobi games. Same with some old Strider games and a bunch of other stuff too. So I'm not going to go through everything. You'll have to check out nintendojo.com later this month for the full rundown. But yeah, first observation, there were a lot of ninja action platformers released between 1987 and like 1994. And then as for the 2 games that actually came out recently, I really liked Ragebound a lot. I thought it did a good job of mixing action and platforming. I wish it had been a little harder on a first playthrough. Like I do think that once you're on hard mode and you have to deal with like the boss rushes and like the optional challenges, it gets really good. But the first impression I wish was a little meaner than it was.
I would have been okay if hard mode was just the game.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. But I did end up liking it a lot. Shinobi Art of Vengeance, I was actually a little more lukewarm on. I thought, God, how to put it? A lot of the enemies in Art of Vengeance really don't put up much of a fight. Like you can get yourself killed by walking into their attacks, but if you just like kind of like stand back and look at them, they don't even chase you a lot of the time. Or like a you know an enemy sentry that will just like shoot forward and it doesn't pay any attention to where you are, even if you like walk up behind him or whatever. So a lot of the AI is just kind of really basic. And I found like all the bosses were just folding immediately. Like I feel like I didn't really have to learn. There's like an early boss that's like a guy with a sword through his chest.
He's like a former Yakuza
Yeah.
member.
I didn't even know what most of his moveset was by the time I beat him. Same with some other like later bosses. Any like human-sized boss, I felt like I was just juggling to death almost immediately. Aesthetically, obviously, it's still gorgeous, but it left me feeling like I was missing a proper Shinobi ninja action game experience at the end of it, which ironically ended up feeling like I got from the last thing I'll talk about, which is Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong, which I played and beaten and really came to appreciate how bracingly difficult it is. And I really feel like the combat in that game in particular is just like super good. The controls are super tight, but the game really demands that you learn how to deal with every challenge it puts in front of you. I didn't feel like I could like cheat my way through any part of that game. And I found like, I would get stuck on bosses for 20 minutes, an hour, more in some cases. There were some where I just had to like, I was like grinding for an hour, trying to figure out the boss, couldn't, had to go to sleep, come back the next day, and then got like a super gratifying clear. And that's like an experience that I wish I'd gotten with Shinobi, wish I'd gotten a little more of with Ragebound. And it was really nice after those two experiences where I'd walked away from both of them thinking like, it's good, but I wish it was harder to get
kicked in the face.
To get kicked in the face, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Silksong really gave me what I was craving. I think, it's got other strengths too besides the combat, like that the atmosphere and things like that are very good. But yeah, I heartily recommend Silksong to anyone with any tolerance for difficult action games.
Zack wrote a great. Did you write the review?
Yeah.
For it?
Yeah.
On Nintendo Joe. Yep.
Cool.
Well,
no Final Fantasy Tactics.
I did start that. I'm not very far in it. It is clearly made with a lot more love than Front Mission 3 was. And I'm playing it on the hard mode that they added. It's weird because they added enough quality of life stuff to kind of like drop the difficulty. So if you're playing on like the quote unquote normal difficulty, it's easier than the PlayStation version. So Tactician kind of bumps it up from there, but not a crazy amount because it's kind of like balanced by some of the quality of life stuff. It's good. This is also like a game where I've previously played a lot of like ROM hack versions of it, but this is like a really good, like, again, like vanilla plus experience, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. But
That's on my list.
I'm
I
still,
wanna try it.
yeah, I'm still just in the first chapter, but so far very strong.
alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go next. So Switch 2 came out, and I dedicated a lot of my time to Mario Kart World, which is overall, I think, a really strong follow-up to Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I do like I really like Knockout Tour. I think that's super fun. I like the kind of endurance run feel of it. But what they did to Grand Prix, I have mixed feelings on. Because it's cool. Like, it's a cool concept to have you start like at the end of the previous track, and then you have to travel to the destination. But like 3 of those laps are traveling to the destination, and then the last lap is at the destination.
Yeah, it feels that way sometimes.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like you're really getting to enjoy that destination really very much. Like, Shy Guy Bazaar. It's one of my favorite tracks. But you only, like, it starts you off, you like the first the first track of that cup, you get the traditional, like, 3 laps around a track, closed track. Then stage 2, or track 2 in the cup is Shy Guy Bazaar, but it starts you off, like, driving through a desert, then driving on the road, and then approaching the bazaar, and then you drive through the bazaar, like, once, and then it ends. And so that's the case with all of the other cups in Grand Prix in that game.
Is Shy Guy Bazaar only in like that one cup in that one context?
You could visit an open world and Knockout Tour too, right?
Yeah, but if you're asking, like, is it only in that one cup in Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Then yes.
I'm asking because I have a very limited set of experiences with open world racing games or racing games in general. The only open world racing game I've played is Burnout Paradise, and that one is built so that there's like 8 or 10 spots around the map that can all serve as the start or ending, but a bunch of different races will take you a bunch of different ways, and so you get to experience some of like signature parts of the map in a bunch of different contexts as part of different experiences.
No, closest you get to that is Knockout Tour. where you'll experience, for example, cheap falls in a couple of different ways, which is, I think, my favorite track in the game, and then Shy Guy Bazaar. But that's the closest, I think, to what you're describing. So I feel like I definitely have mixed feelings on that new course setup for Grand Prix. I don't hate it. I just don't know how much. I don't know if I like it more. I don't think I like it more than the traditional 3 laps around a closed track.
I've seen you and Robert both play Mario Kart World a fair bit. So, I mean, you're playing it on a system that can also play Mario Kart 8. So I assume you still are very positive on it overall, or else you'd just be playing Mario Kart 8 again.
Yeah. And I've gone back to Mario Kart 8, to compare it. I do still prefer Mario Kart 8 as a whole, but Mario Kart World is great. I do think that the quality of life patches that they implemented were necessary regarding the blue shell, because the game was just so blue shell happy to the point of exhaustion, where it was just like...
What is the quality of life change? Is it just fewer blue shells?
Yeah, it was like fewer blue shells. They also made some changes that were not well received to multiplayer, where people were upset that they were getting the new tracks, the new style of tracks.
The like multi-part going from one area to the next tracks.
Yeah, and people wanted more of the like traditional closed track races when they were playing online. But Nintendo is Nintendo, and they want to force you to play their way. And so they had changed how often you would get the traditional tracks versus the new style. People complained. Then they changed it again, so that way you were getting the new tracks less, but then they went and changed it back, so now you're getting the new tracks more. It's just been like this bad seesaw, and people haven't been thrilled with that. But otherwise, like I said, overall, I think it's great. I believe I gave it an A when I reviewed it for Nintendo Joe. Like, it is very well deserving of an A. But I do think that they should have included more costumes for certain characters.
Oh, yeah.
Because Pauline only has one different one. Shy Guy only has 2 different ones.
That makes me think this is definitely going to be the only Mario Kart on Switch 2.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be like a slow drip of content they do for it for 5 years.
It's going to be a DLC farm.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a ton of costumes. It's going to be a ton of tracks. Like, we probably won't see another Mario Kart for another 8 years or whatever.
They'll bring out, when the next Mario movie comes out, there'll be some like tie-in costumes for that every time they release a new game.
Well, they, for the first time in years, I think, they dropped new content for Mario Kart Tour that was a tie-in with the drop for Mario Kart World, which I jumped on, and of course, because I still play Tour.
Of course. Of course.
And there's definitely some elements of Tour. Like, it's not a surprise. Everybody saw it coming. There are some elements of Tour in World. You can see some inspiration. There's even some items that they took from Tour and put into World.
But not very inspired by the number of cosmetic options in Tour.
No. Now, some of them are lifted from Tour. Like...
Yeah.
Yukata Peach, for example, was from Tour. But yeah, I mean, they definitely should have taken more heed from Tour and had many more costumes for certain characters. Because like Mario obviously has a ton, Luigi, Peach, etc. But then there are characters that really got shafted. But like you said, and Robert and I have been saying, it's probably going to be just DLC later down the line.
There's so many costumes, even in like Mario Odyssey. Like it's weird to have so few.
Yeah, like I would have liked to have seen Mario with his little sombrero. His little poncho.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, but Mario Kart Tour has been great. Put a lot of time into that. Then I moved on to Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I got the physical edition from Limited Run Games, which was cool. Came with like a little art book and came with some DLC. And I do agree with you, Zach, that the game definitely feels a little on the easier side. Now, it depends on what you're talking about, though, because, like, the, what do they call those?
The Anku Rifts?
No, well, not those. I actually haven't. I think I've only done one of those. The other ones where you can fight, you like, slice
the elite squads?
Thank you, the elite squads, yeah. Those definitely put up a challenge. Like, I have died to elite squads and had to go back and try again. So those are a good challenge. But I do think that, like, some of the bosses have been pretty easy. I think most of the bosses actually have been pretty easy. So I may actually, because I usually don't, I never do this. Like, I'll just beat the game and then go on to the next game. I don't do usually like New Game Plus or on like a harder difficulty. I might play this game again on a harder difficulty.
Oh, that's the disappointing thing. That was a big thing I do prefer about Ragebound, is Ragebound actually has a hard mode when you finish it. Shinobi doesn't.
Oh, Shinobi doesn't.
Does not even have a harder mode.
Oh,
What it
okay.
does have is something called arcade mode, which scores you on completing the stages. But the stages are just so long that it just doesn't feel like a good match for that kind of, you know.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I have still though, like the art direction
Very
is
strong.
amazing.
Yeah.
The tracks, the OST, amazing. Like it's a super fun, and it's fun. Like it's been fun, like chaining together his attacks and unlocking different moves, and I've just had a ton of fun with it. I'm very close to beating it. I'm at the end. I love it. I do recommend playing with the Japanese voices on, because the English voices are not very good. So,
I think I played on English. I didn't really
Yeah.
have too much of a problem. But.
yeah. I also like that Shinobi just grunts. He doesn't he doesn't say a word. Yeah. So that's been a lot of fun. And then it hasn't been a game, but it's obviously game related. I watched the second season of Pokémon Concierge. It was another 4 episodes, just less than an hour. I think
She
it was.
cried again.
Oh yeah, I cried again. Another tearjerker episode 2.
Is that the one in Japanese?
Yeah. I think there's an English voiceover, but I don't want to watch it in the English. But it's very good. It was just as good as season 1. Incredible art. Dwarf Studios and the Pokemon Company have really done something special with that series, and I really hope that they keep going with it and doing up season 3 and on and on. But
I think it's the best Pokemon related thing that's ever come out.
it's certainly very high up there.
You enjoyed it, Zach?
Yeah.
Nice. I got to give it a go.
It's short and sweet. Clearly a lot of love and craft went into the animation.
Oh yeah.
And it's like recontextualizes the Pokemon concept in a way that I think really
I can't believe you
works.
watched Pokemon. Shocked.
I mean, I've been in the room when it was on.
Oh,
you know,
God.
had the Steam Deck on my lap, right?
Like our dad watching Twilight with mom and Pride and Prejudice, yeah, because mom was watching it.
Speaking of Pokemon, isn't Legends out soon?
Yeah, and that's I'm gonna get Z through A. Z through A is next. I feel like we talked about this shortly before we filmed what games were coming out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think we did. I think that was on your list.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Pokemon Minecraft Animal Crossing looking game that was announced?
Pokopia?
Yeah.
I am absolutely getting
Are you
that
all in
game.
on that?
I am
I
all
figured.
in.
I
on-
think that's the second greatest Pokemon related thing that's ever been announced.
You think that was a ditto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Zach liked it, because he liked the goofy little Ditto kid.
The spaghetti arms.
Yeah. So I'm all in on Pokopia. I can't wait for that one to come out. But yeah, so then my plan is to beat Shinobi and then go back to Clair Obscur. Like because I got Mario Galaxy, the 2-pack with 1 and 2. I'm going to force myself.
Did you get through Act 1 on Clair Obscur?
She did not.
Okay.
I had to stop and think. I was like, did I? Yeah, so I haven't.
Oh, man.
I haven't got through it.
I
And
believe,
you're completely out of the loop on like spoilers and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
out of the
Anything like that?
loop.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm all.
I
out
believe
of
she
the
is still in Flying Waters.
It's fine.
No, I got through Flying Waters,
Okay,
and then
all
and then
right.
I did that mansion where you
Yeah.
find the faceless guy or whatever,
Yeah.
and then and now I'm going out of the mansion to the next place.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's
Making good progress.
I'm gonna have to relearn how to play the game,
Right.
but I think that's it. I think that was all. Like I said, I have to deny myself Mario Galaxy and 1 and 2. I'm gonna start with 2 since it's been locked onto Wii for years and years now. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that was it. Robert, what have you been playing?
Well, I'm going to review the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 combo game that came out. Galaxy has, we've already gotten to play it more recently because it was part of 3D All-Stars. So my focus has been more on Galaxy 2. And my opinion for a long time has been that's the best of the 3D Mario games. I still think I feel that way. I'll wait till I get to the end because it's been years, and I don't really think I've gone back to it much since, it was on Wii. There are a couple things I'm noticing, a few years removed, different thoughts I'm having. I think it's annoying how the continuity doesn't carry over from the first Galaxy. So everything, it's like it's the first time again, where it's as though you've never met the Lumas. It's as though the Explorer Toads never met you. And I'm just like, what kind of bizarre need does Nintendo have to disrupt like that?
It's just like Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, same thing with Tears. Where
Yeah.
Tears, it's acting almost as though nothing happened in the previous game, and it's like, okay, well, it did, and the players are thinking it. So why do you do that? That has nothing to do with gameplay. It's just an annoying story thing. Gameplay wise, I think there's just no getting around the fact that when Nintendo makes its games for each platform, they legitimately tailor those games for that platform. So I'm having a fine time playing Galaxy 2 right now, and I could use the Joy-Con if I wanted. But the feeling of a nunchuck and Wii Remote, like that was made, like the game was made for that. And you could just feel it. Like it's hard to explain, but like my muscle memory in the Galaxy games, like it was to the point, because I played the hell out of both of them, that I could barely move my wrist. I knew exactly the amount of movement in my wrist to get him to do his little twirl. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like I would be floating around. It was almost like ballet is how that game felt. It still feels very similar with a controller in my hand, but there's a little something lost in translation. And like I said, you can play with the Joy-Con if you want, but even with the Joy-Con, it's still not exactly the same. But in terms of challenge, it's a notch above the first Galaxy game, which is nice. The inclusion of Yoshi really works well. I think that I'm also really liking the look of the game. It's amazing that it's a Wii game. There are a lot of titles that came out on Wii that I think are undervalued in terms of just how beautiful they are. And this game upscaled into HD, it looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I feel like it looked better on the Wii.
I feel that way about some Wii games. For example, Skyward Sword has a watercolor aesthetic that is completely wiped out on the Switch version because it's super crisp and clear, whereas the Wii version was sort of acknowledging, the graphics are not super crisp. They're a little even blurry in some ways. So the watercolor worked perfectly there. When it comes to the Galaxy games, though, I don't necessarily think I feel like the Wii version looked better. I would just say they both look great for what they are. But like with Zelda, that one I prefer the Wii version. Beyond that, I played Metal Gear Solid Delta. I thought that was handled really well. I was very pleased that they didn't really do much in terms of messing with what was there. It was reminiscent of like the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask remakes on 3DS, where it was really just kind of a fresh coat of paint for the visuals, but the gameplay was largely the same. Now, there are tweaks to the controls, and I believe there's kind of like a modern versus classic setup that you can do. But the game it plays fine either way.
I think I read or saw something that like the switching between the two cameras or two control schemes required like reloading. Like it wasn't like a smooth transition.
I don't think I did it in the middle of playing, so I don't remember. It's possible. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's a huge deal breaker or anything. I do think it's interesting because it has, there's the free control camera, right? We're using like the right stick. But if you play the original Snake Eater, the first one that came out, I think had a fixed camera. And then there was Sustenance that came out after, and that had the free camera controls, if I'm remembering correctly. And everything that you pretty much remember in terms of little tricks is still there. So, spoiler alert for the 20-year-old game or whatever, but like you don't actually have to fight the end. You can just take your save file, move it ahead. I think it's 2 weeks or a month, and then he dies.
That's funny.
Or when he's rolled out on that dock. So if if you're playing this, you didn't know these things. When they roll him out on the dock and the boss is talking with a couple other characters and Snake's watching with his binoculars, as soon as they go back in and he's sitting there on the dock just waiting to be rolled back, you can actually shoot him and blow him up and then also skip that entire boss fight. He gets replaced with the Ocelot unit and you have to fight them instead. So just these quirky little things. And, I'm trying to remember... I mean, there is stuff in MGS4, but it's really MGS1 has the super creative boss battle stuff, like with Psycho Mantis reading your memory card, and then 3 with those those bizarre things. Like, yeah, you can age him out. You know, you can just weight him to death, and then he's gone. It looks fabulous. Yeah, I could go on and on about that game. It makes me sad that we'll probably never get another Kojima Metal Gear game, but.
Yeah.
You know, if Konami wants to just keep remaking them like this, I'd be fine with it. Do it all the way up to 4 and or even 5. I'd be happy. But what else have I been playing? So there was that. Oh, so some of the Switch 2 edition games are absolutely worth a look. It might annoy the crap out of you that you have to spend an extra $10 or $20 for some of it, but there's games that are just upscaled and they're not charging anything. Like 3D World, for example. That one, there's an upgrade if you play it on a Switch 2. We don't pay anything. But then there's the upgrades for Breath of the Wild and Tears and Kirby Forgotten Land. Those ones you do have to pay. At least with the Zelda games, there's a little bit of extra content. There's the unlockable Zelda memories, where if you have the Nintendo app open while you're playing, I think they sync up or something, and then you play these like video or these audio memories. But like in terms of performance, it's worth it. Mm-hmm. Like the games look way better on Switch 2. I mean, they're just so much more crisp, and they have the loading times are massively reduced. So you're just going through everything much faster, which is just from a quality of life perspective is really nice. And I was surprised because when I booted up my Breath of the Wild save file, I was like, oh man, it's been like over 3 years since I played this. It was a 2022 save date. And the only reason I even ended up doing it was because I had popped in Tears and did the update for that. And I was like, well, I just played Tears not too long ago. I should go back and do Breath of the Wild and then just do them in order again. So it's been fun going back and re-experiencing that game. I still don't think that I consider it like my favorite Zelda game, but there are aspects of it that are just some of the best in the series. There's something about the feeling of exploration that's just probably better than in any Zelda game, where you're just running through this giant world, and the designs of just everything. It's just such a fantastic game. And
Breath is still my favorite, but I think it's going to be a while because I've played it like 4 or 5 times. I think it's going to be a while before I can revisit that.
It'll be fun when you do. I don't remember doing this the first time. I know I did it for Tears, but in Breath of the Wild, you can access a bunch of the armor just through the amiibo. And I think I did it through missions when I played the first time instead of using my amiibo. So, plus, I think my girlfriend at the time, I had let her and her dad borrow them because there was a whole thing with that where I had to wait to get them back. So that one I earned them. This one I said, screw it. I'm just going to unlock all the armor right now. So I was sitting, scanning all the figurines selectively. I was like, all right, this one's Fierce Deity. This one's Twilight Princess. And I just kept setting the clock ahead a day. I just kept setting it, going back. And then the increased speed for the loading times made that less torturous because I was just like, oh, wow, it boots right back up. This is great. So I'm going to play the game just switching back and forth between Ocarina, Twilight, and Fierce Deity.
This is like the closest Robert has ever gotten to being a PC gamer. It's like appreciating. It's like, oh, look at these new specs. Look at these crazy load times. I'm just going to hack the game and get all the items right away.
Well, the same can be said of Kirby. So I'll talk Kirby and then Sonic Racing, and then I'll be done. So Kirby Forgotten Land is also great. All the new content is really fun. If you enjoyed the base game, you're just getting more of that with a new thing to collect. It's considerably long, and the difference in the visuals, I mean, it was already a beautiful game, but just like Tears and Breath, it looks stunning on Switch 2, and it really is making me like want another one. I'm just like, I can't wait give me another 3D Kirby game like this, and it's probably going to look even better. But
we really need to get another one. I just feel like it would be such a waste because like everything they did in that game was so good that another one is like necessary.
Yeah, so that's absolutely worth checking out, and such a fun, competently made game. And then I'll end with Sonic Racing Crossworlds. So I've played both the Switch and the PS5 versions of it. The Switch version, it's rough. It works. It's good enough, basically, and it maintains what makes the other versions of the game superior to a point. But if you're gonna play it, the best way to play it is going to be on a PS5 or an Xbox. So you have that return to the land, sea, air mechanic from previous Sonic racing games. So you can fly, you can go across water. The hook here, though, is that Crossworlds thing, where you go through each race, and I was just telling Zack that I'm a little torn on how they have it set up, because every race, your second lap, you go to a different world. So you have these awesome tracks that they create, and these awesome, race courses, and you only get to experience them for 2 out of 3 laps. And it seems like it really shouldn't be that big a deal, but I found myself really frustrated at times where I'm like, I love this race track, and I don't really get to experience the full thing because it's always interrupted with now to a new world. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to go to a new world. I want to stay on this race course.
That's really interesting how it's the same problem that Mario Kart World has, just in a different way.
Yeah, that's like kind of what Zack was saying too. Like it doesn't want to just give you that traditional racing experience. So I hope at some point maybe they patch it so that you can choose to just turn that off if you want. I mean, I get that that's the core gimmick, is it's Crossworlds, but it's like, who cares? Just let me determine if I want to go somewhere else or stay here. But visually, it's very beautiful. It's very creative with its stages and designs. The roster's really cool. It's sort of trying to be the Smash Bros. Ultimate of racing games, because you have all these Sega characters and then a bunch of guest characters that are coming in. The Minecraft characters just dropped, depending on your interest, of course, in some of these crossover characters. But like, you're going to have Joker from Persona coming in. You're going to have not Kiryu, the guy from like
Ichiban.
Yeah, there you go, Ichiban.
Because there's a kart racing game in Yakuza 7.
I hate Ichiban.
Oh, there you go. He's not as cool as the other guys, but anyway, it's fun. Like, it's absolutely fun. And if you're not enjoying Mario Kart World as much, it might be worth considering Sonic Racing. But like I said, if you get it on Switch, it's going to be a little rougher. However, there is a Switch 2 version coming, as far as I know. It's just not out yet, and I'm not sure when. I think maybe closer to Christmas. But if you're holding out and you want a better version of it, I'd maybe wait for that. But I bet you that's probably still not even going to run as good as the PS5 and Xbox One. So it's still probably best to play it elsewhere. But it's you can manage, and it's fun on Switch. So that's what I've been up to.
That reminds me, real quick, Dom. I'm sorry. I knew there were a couple things I forgot that were significant.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. I put out like 150 plus hours into it. It took us so much time.
Slipped my mind.
Yeah, just a huge chunk of my life. So I played that on Switch and Switch 2.
It was another ugly cry.
Yeah, it was another ugly cry, because it's one of the only games that's ever made me cry at all. But the couple different things. There's like the red light raid, which they added. It's basically just like a beat 'em up mode. It's imperfect. It's fun, but the difficulty spike is unrealistic. It's just they're just, and like the amount of yen that it requires to
it's
upgrade,
grindy, right? Like, it's not intended to be beatable on skill alone. Like, you get beat down and you take your yen back and do like these incremental unlocks to get stronger.
Yeah, and now I do think it's neat, though, that the roster is pulled from the Bed of Sticks portion of the game, the underground criminal fight club that Majima has to navigate at one point in the story. I actually thought that was pretty cool, but yeah, it's extremely grindy to the point where I was just like, how am I supposed to be clearing these stages in time? But the other pull was that, like the other draw rather for this director's cut was the new cutscenes, which definitely divided fans of Yakuza 0. I think that they were all unnecessary. If they were on the cutting room floor originally, I can understand why they were. If they were new, if it was all just new content that was made for this game, I question some of it. In particular, a retcon of a character's death, which I definitely have mixed feelings about. I'm not going to complain about more cutscenes in this game though, because all of the cutscenes in Zero are just like there's an option to just sit and watch all the cutscenes in the game. And I plan to do that very soon because they're so good. I mean, Yakuza 0 shot to my second favorite game of all time. Top 3 games is Ocarina, Yakuza 0, Majora's Mask. That's how much I love this game. So I'm fine with more cutscenes, but there were definitely some story issues that they created. Not all of them, but some of them. But they were fine. I mean, I really truly felt like the people that were losing their minds over them and were just saying how awful they were and how it's just completely ruined the story and blah blah blah. Like, please get over yourselves. It's really not that big of a deal. Whatever. I just anyway. So it's great though. Fantastic. It plays well. It looks so good. It looks very, very good. It's not like the Witcher 3 situation on Switch. Not at all. Total polar opposite. It looks so clear and crisp and sharp. If you had told me that I was playing on the PS4 or whatever, I would have believed it. It looks great. And then the last thing was I borrowed Robert's copy of the Metal Gear Solid collection. And because I plan to hopefully play all of the Metal Gear Solid games. So I started with the first one. I'm definitely having to train myself to not just go into situations guns blazing. You have to be patient. You have to stand still. You have to monitor things.
This is like foundational to Angie's gamer personality, though.
Yeah, like not... Yeah, so it has been hard having to basically retrain my brain.
I'm gonna be shocked. Like, who the hell are you if this manages to turn you into someone who's capable of patience in games?
I mean, like, I've watched Robert play him over the years. I think Solid Snake, is just one of the coolest characters of all time, and I figured it was finally my turn to give him a shot. But it's been hard.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So sorry, Don. Those were significant things that I have been playing that I forgot to mention. But why don't you wrap us up?
Sure. I think Yakuza Director's Cut's coming to other platforms too.
It is, and Kiwami 2 and 3.
Yeah,
it's going to be a packed, Q4 2025, Q1 2026.
When is Kiwami 3 coming out?
February for Kiwami 3.
Okay,
and then November, I believe, for Kiwami 2.
Nice.
So yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, Kiwami 2's out already, right?
On other platforms.
On other
yes.
platforms.
It's just not on
for
Switch.
Oh, okay.
Switch.
Got it.
Yeah.
So since the last time we recorded, I completed, I think, 3 games. Talk briefly. One is called The Altars. In a nutshell, it's like this sci-fi survival base building game. I think it's extremely sort of it's not talked about much. It's kind of under the radar, but it was a phenomenal game in my opinion. Story wise.
How did you learn about it?
A podcast I listened to mentioned it, and it was on Game Pass. It was like an Xbox podcast, and they gave it a shot because it was on Game Pass. I played it on PlayStation because I think it had pro enhancements or something like that. But so story wise, you play as this guy Jan Dalsky or something like that, and so it's like your space mission went sideways, and the goal was to get this resource called Rapidium. And it had all these benefits that is known to Earth. That is, the benefits of it were just incredible. So ultimately, your crew dies, and then you're on this. You have your base, and now your goal is to survive and get off the planet, SOS and stuff like that. So you're talking back and forth with Earth, and they're like, "Oh, well, since you're there already, why don't you, continue harvesting the Rapidium until we get the safety crew back there, the rescue crew there." And so, you go about it, and then ultimately you use the Rapidium and you create clones of yourself. So this is like one of the untapped benefits of the resource, and it turns this huge science project. And so you start creating clones of yourself to sort of help your base move along, collect resources to survive and stuff like that. And the cool part is you use like a computer. And when you are ready to make a clone, you sort of do this branch where it goes back into your mind and certain parts of your life, you made certain decisions, and it will basically say, okay, what if you made this decision in life, or you went to school instead of work? So then you create a clone that's a scientist, or if you went this route, the clone is a miner, so he's, his strength is better, so he mines better resources. But anyways, it's like a cross between resource management. You're fighting against the clock because you only have a certain amount of days before the planet blows up, basically. So it's super fun. I beat that. I would recommend it to anybody. It's third person, Zack. So and
you should be good, Zack, if you want to try it.
I played Titanfall too. I played some Halo games.
Yeah, game's super fun. And then I played Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I thought both were excellent. You guys basically said everything.
Did you have a preference, one or the other?
I think I like Shinobi a little better. I enjoyed the combat a lot because of all the combos and stuff.
It's so good.
Yeah, and then you can, what are they called? The Ninpon? Or
Ninpo?
Is it Ninpo?
Ninpo are the ones like the lightning one you kept using. I talked about keep using the wind one. Yeah.
Those were pretty cool, and then like chaining them into your normal attacks was pretty cool.
I love the insta kill. Like when they get the red symbol over their head and you just instantly assassinate them. Oh, that was
the best part of the combat.
It's a literal game changer because
cool.
I forgot about it for a long time. And then I was like, wait a second. I think Zack asked me, are you using that? And I was like, I forgot.
I think I mentioned this in my review that I thought it was like not like it could have been more interesting than it was, because I had this great experience in one of the Anku rifts where I like overextended on something and was about to fall into a pit, and then I realized that there was like an execution eligible guy, so I used it to like get back to the platform.
Yeah.
Oh, smart.
But yeah, it really, like, for most of the game, like outside of that, it felt like, it was just some extra resources or a stylish kill, which is cool, right? Like if you're playing a ninja game, it is a good thing to have like stylish.
But it doesn't it also help refill your rage meter faster so you can do Ninpo more?
Yeah. So there's like a little bit of feedback.
Perks than just the look. But I get what you're saying, because like usually by the time they get the symbol, a couple more hits and they're dead.
Right,
Is
exactly.
what you're getting at.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Because I would accidentally kill them before the symbol appeared, and I was like, damn. But you also get health and a lot of gold by doing it too.
You get more resources.
You get way more resources.
The more you get more resources, the more you have in the chain.
Yes.
Yeah. That was awesome. Good point. Bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
I'd just like to point out, Zack didn't seem very enthusiastic about Shinobi when I was describing it when I got to play it during the summer.
Well, he likes Ragebound better, I think.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he
but
does.
still, he was like, I don't know, it sounds like it's going to be very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was basically right. Like my concerns about the game panned out. Like I looked at it and it was like, you're just going to be stunting on sandbag enemies, and this game doesn't look like it's really blending action and platformer elements together very well. Like they do. Like in Shinobi, there's like the platform segments and then the fight the enemy segments. Whereas in Ragebound, you're fighting enemies as you're platforming. And so like I wanted Shinobi to be more like that. It's
Ragebound
not. It is what it
platformer
is.
was better.
Yeah,
no doubt in my
You
mind.
still gave it a B+, Chief.
I did.
Yeah, there's no way you can play Shinobi and say it's not a good game.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I agree with that.
I mean, it's a good game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I get why you like Ragebound better. It's more arcadey. The platform is definitely better. It's less combo focused. It's more just, hack and slash, like Strider kind of.
Yeah, I would wish that in a game as combo focused as Shinobi that there was more reason to use the combos, because like I felt like if you just found something that worked for you, you could just do that forever. Basically, there's like a ton of things that Joe Musashi can do, but you don't really have to do.
That's true.
Most of that.
Yeah.
You can be creative.
You
but
can be creative.
You don't have to.
You don't have to be
Yeah.
creative. Yeah, I wish there was just more pressure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
because
fair.
there are certain enemies where like you do have to do like that breaker move to like break through armor. But for the most part, if you find a combo, like a good like go-to combo, you can just stick.
I did the one where you kind of do the spin attack in the air and fall or like hit the ground.
Oh yeah, I was
really good.
using the air kick where you like the dive kick at an angle and then you bounce off and then do a combo from that. I was doing that. I was abusing the heck out of that.
Yeah.
Angie, you played on Switch, right? Does it, well, Zack would notice more. Zack, was it compromised on Switch, or does it play just as smooth as on the others?
seemed like a perfectly good performance. I remember in the preview builds, because like Ragebound on Switch was capped at 30 frames per second. Shinobi, I think it was just like a lower resolution, but that holds up really well with the art style, so it doesn't really feel like, unless you're doing side-by-side comparisons, I don't think you'd really suffer.
And I can say I didn't see any slowdown, no choppiness, no screen tearing, no, like nothing like that.
I still haven't played it.
Yeah, both are real solid. Very similar to 2D and Ninja. Zack was kind of talking to. So back to back on those. Now, currently, I'm playing 2 sequels or follow-up games that are better than their first game, in my opinion. So first is Silksong. I beat Hollow Knight. I didn't do all the 110% stuff, and I didn't do much of the optional stuff. Played the normal game, and I thought it was probably my favorite Metroidvania style game of all time. It's just so perfect. I love the atmosphere in that game. And so Silksong as a follow-up, you worry like, okay, you don't want it to be identical, but you don't want them to change too much. I feel like the wait was well worth it with this game. I mean, it was on my fantasy draft 2 years ago, thinking it would come out 2 years ago, and it didn't. But,
How many memes have people posted over the years of Hollow Knight sitting at a bench with a clown nose on?
Exactly. It's like, Team Cherry, what are you doing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the wait was well worth it. I haven't beaten it yet. I know Zack did. I'm in like a few hours into Act 2. So I'm moving along. The challenge is there. The atmosphere is still great. I feel like the additions that are there and the additions to combat really make a big difference. And that's the biggest improvement I see in the game. The dash attacks, and I'm trying to think because I haven't played in a couple weeks. Just the perks you get, and I don't know. I just love it. And then the other game I'm playing, I put a lot of time into, is Hades 2. I beat Hades 1, and it's probably my favorite roguelike game of all time. And this is just that and better. It's a lot more Hades, so if you like the first one, you will love this one. Still amazing voice acting, story's good. And then it's very similar to Silksong, where you were kind of worried, like, well, is it just going to be the same thing? They added plenty to the game that just improved so much. And this time, there's actually 2 routes you could take. You can go in the underworld, or you can go, into the mountains.
Is that like per run you can choose which way you're going to go?
Which route. The original was just 1 with 4 bosses. Now there's basically like 8. It's just very well done. Yeah, I'm addicted. I'm about 40 hours in. Should be rolling credits soon enough. So yeah, that's me.
Well, Robert, actually just realized, did you talk about playing Bonanza?
He did not.
Yeah, I guess we didn't talk about that in the last one.
No, because the Switch 2 wasn't out yet when we recorded last.
Okay, well, I guess real briefly, there was a video review on Nintendo, Joe. But Bonanza's great. It's the Mario Odyssey team, which everyone knew. For some reason, Nintendo, they had Bowser out there telling everyone, you're just going to have to wait and see the credits. It's whatever.
Yeah, it looks similar.
It just is Odyssey
yeah.
with a monkey in it. But anyway, but there's a little deeper than that. So you have DK, you have Pauline as his little partner. I'd also like to point out that I knew that rock thing on his shoulder was going to be someone else. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's a placeholder. There's no way that's just the main little companion for him. And then the spoiler came out that it was Pauline. I was like, I knew it. Anyway.
But you said that in the game they never explain like her situation, right? She's just there?
No.
They don't explain why she's 12.
Yeah. Oh, that's I think what I was thinking of.
They don't explain the age difference. But anyway, his abilities in it, the sense of power is like greater than any Donkey Kong game I think I've ever played. Like, he feels like a total beast. And by the time you get, I think like midway through the game, maybe even a little earlier than that, you get an ability that just lets you blast through terrain. So in this game, it's all about destruction. So if you're like unfamiliar, Bonanza is about being able to burst through basically everything you see in every stage. You can get down to like the actual studs of each world, where there's usually an underlying frame that can't be destroyed that's made of like metal, but everything on top of it, you can just sit and go through it. So if you have like a massive amount of time and a super just like dedicated type of attention span, you can just sit and just spend hours destroying each stage.
Robert?
Yeah.
In the time I spent watching you play this game, it has seemed like the objectives are very basic and that there's not a lot to it other than the catharsis of just beating the crap out of things and punching holes through things. Is that accurate? Or are there like more like demanding and involved objectives?
There's platforming challenges. There's timing-based sort of challenges. Yeah, you got to work to get the bananas.
So you were just intentionally playing the boring stuff in front of me?
Not at all. I think you're just being a little ridiculous here.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a typical platformer. It's no less deep than a Mario one. I guess arguably the Mario games have a bit more going on in terms of objectives, but this game is very much about that exhilarating sense of power that you have as Donkey Kong. But there's a lot of other stuff going on as well. The transformations that you have, there's different objectives that you get based on what they can do. So, for example, one of them lets you're a zebra, and there's like running-based challenges as the zebra. And all that. So I don't want to spoil too much of the abilities. I don't want to spoil. Like, they're neat each time you get to them. And the design of everything is just so beautiful to look at. And then the DLC came out, and it's like score attack stuff you can do. But I think depending on the type of fan you are, the more alluring part of it is that you get to go back to DK Island. And then there's the pleasant DK Island music playing as you're exploring. And you don't have to beat the game to access it either. So, like, it becomes more, there's more to it after you beat the game, but if you just want to go to DK Island and look around, the game will let you do that, as soon as you download it. So, again, more detail, go to Nintendo Joe's YouTube for the review, but it was a blast.
All right. Well, now that we're all caught up, I guess it's time to move on to the meat and potatoes of today's episode.
I like potatoes.
So first, we will talk about now that we all have a Switch 2, and we've all had an opportunity to play. Although Zach, not really very much.
The only thing I've played on my Switch 2 so far is Front Mission 3 Remake.
Yeah, but we've all had a chance to play. We've all focused on different games. So I think we can do just our general thoughts at this point. It's October, and it launched in July, right? Did it launch in July? So it's about 5 months sorry.
I think it was June that it came out.
Switch 2 launched in June.
Yeah. It was June. Okay, so 4 months. So I guess just general thoughts. Whoever wants to start first, whatever you want to talk about. Your thoughts on the console so far?
Yeah, I've played probably the least, second to Zack. Mm-hmm. I did mess around with the upgrades Robert was talking about with Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. Thought it looks great. I remember seeing, PC versions running Breath of the Wild years ago, thinking like, man, once Nintendo gets its specs up, it could look like this, or I could play it on PC. But it looks incredible on 4K. Runs super smooth. I spent a lot of time on Wind Waker because that was an addition to Switch 2, right?
Yeah, that's launched the GameCube app.
Mm-hmm. Can you play the GameCube app on the original Switch?
Nope.
No, it's a Switch 2 exclusive. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And Soul Calibur 2. So those are 2 GameCube games.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah.
2 GameCube games that we put so many hours in back in the day. Mm-hmm. And then I also played some Donkey Kong Bonanza. Maybe 10 hours. And I found it fun. I don't know. I'm not going to say I got bored of it, but it was a lot of destruction. And then I wasn't a fan of the shrines, like their job of doing the shrines. But I did like the bosses. I thought the bosses were really fun. And it looks incredible. I just need to get back to it.
Okay.
But as far as the Switch 2 goes, it's super snappy. Everything's so quick and everything looks so crisp on the screen.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially like the snappiness, the smooth, just everything about it, the general look of it, and then of course the actual when you're playing it and playing games on it.
I love how you can put the Joy-Con in now.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool too. And yeah, I forgot that was another thing that I had been playing a lot of, was Soul Calibur 2. And I remembered how the buttons, like which buttons did which attack, and then which buttons I had to press for combos.
Were you using a GameCube controller?
I was using the Pro controller because I don't have the GameCube controller.
I had to use the GameCube controller for Soul Calibur. I was getting messed up.
I took so long to remap the buttons. I did like a custom button mapping, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that I got it. So that was a lot of fun.
I think one of the coolest things that they did with this console, like it's bullshit that you can't use the old micro SD cards, but at the very least they let you keep using all the controllers. And it's like, it's so nice because just from a waste perspective, it's like, dude, it's like these are just Bluetooth controllers. There's nothing that special going on here. It's like, oh, you added, the what are they called? The SLR buttons? Is that what they're? The inside triggers?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Whatever those are. You have those, and you have like the C button. It's like, otherwise it's the same damn controller. It's like, thank you for letting us reuse those. Particularly because Power A came out with their own GameCube controllers for the first Switch years ago. We still use them to this day as a family. And when Soul Calibur 2 came out on Switch 2, I was like, oh, I already have a GameCube controller. I have the one that Power A made, which is, it's not as good as the one you can get through Nintendo, but it's still really good. And I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah. Robert and I have talked about this a little bit, especially since the last Nintendo Direct, but the concern about, how many games that are coming out that have been announced are, Switch 2 exclusives, like on only a Switch 2 title versus a Switch and Switch 2 title, like Metroid Prime 4, for example. And wanting to make sure that Nintendo understands that, they're still riding the wave of the success of the first Switch. But they can't rely on that forever. And they are going to have to invest more in Switch 2 exclusives. So I do hope to see more of that moving forward. I say it's inevitable. That's not necessarily true, but I do hope to see that moving forward. Because they will eventually have to kind of start moving away from Switch.
Well, they do seem to be keeping the same cadence, even though it doesn't really feel like it in terms of releases. Nintendo pretty much, it was like just about once a month there was like a Switch game. Sometimes it was a little, more between, but right now there's going to be, the mix of, it's on Switch and Switch 2. Like Pokemon is this week, I think. And that's going to be split between the two platforms. But yeah, I want more, genuinely just Switch 2 games. So in terms of what hasn't been talked about, we know there's a Zelda on the way. We know there's a Mario on the way. So that's 2.
Yeah, but that could be years off, right? Like we have no idea. And to your point, Nintendo does put out games at a certain cadence, but when the Switch 1 launched, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey came out the first year, right?
Yeah.
It's not just that they were putting out games, it's that they were putting out the headliners, their marquee titles came out that first year.
Because you and I talked about this when they announced the Mario 40th anniversary. And when they said that the movie was what the celebration was centered around, I think that's what they said the whole celebration was centered around. I was like, oh, then we're not getting a 3D Mario. Because there's no way that they'd prioritize the movie over the next 3D Mario. But now we're talking 8 years. 8 years, right? Going on 9 years. Without
a proper 3D Mario.
Without a proper 3D Mario.
Has it been that long since Odyssey came?
Yeah, because it was a launch title.
2017.
So, and that's the longest by far stretch between. Was it specifically 3D Marios? You and I had mapped this out.
The 3D Marios, it is the longest. Assuming you don't count Bowser's Fury as kind of like a mini expansion.
Yeah, 8 years it's like way longer than the gap between previous 3D Mario games. So it's concerning because there's this question of what's going on there?
Well, you can't always trust Nintendo, but I remember when we were at GDC, they were talking about Wonder, and they were like, we just kind of realized, hey, we haven't made a 2D Mario game in however many years it had been since New Super Mario Bros. U, and then they were just like, I guess we should do that. So, I wonder if they would claim it's something like that, where we didn't really think it's been almost a decade.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Wonder because I told Zack, I brought up that discussion, and how Tezuka said like they consider the 2D Mario games to be on the same level as respected as the 3D games. So then I told Zach they might be thinking that we just had Mario Wonder 3 years ago. So what's the rush? Like we still have time, maybe in a couple of years, we'll see another 3D Mario, but yeah.
Every company messes up. And I think that when you had Switch launch, there was a little bit more pressure to get it right because Wii U bombed so badly. I mean, for one thing, Breath of the Wild, thoughts on other aspects of it aside, just as a game and a cultural impact, that's like a lifetime game, like that's something that comes out and is just like, oh yeah, like that's a watershed moment. And you could feel it before it launched, when that E3 came and everybody's lining up to play it. It's hour and a half wait for 15 minutes of playtime. Mm-hmm. And that was the Wii U version. You didn't even know the Switch version existed yet. So you launch Switch with one of the most celebrated games ever. Then you launch an incredible Mario game. And I think almost out of necessity, because it was like Switch has to succeed, because Nintendo's like, well, if this bombs, then we're Sega. And we don't want to be Sega. We want to keep making our own hardware. So now they're comfortably back in the driver's seat, right? Because you have to remember Wii, they were on top. All the bullshitty, we're in a different ecosystem. Like, no, you all make video games. Nintendo was on top. They faltered with Wii U. And then they're right back on top with Switch. And now Switch 2 comes out. And the blueprint for Switch 2 is basically, it's just more Switch, but a little beefier and more powerful. And, I mean, who's to really argue with them? It's sold really well from the get-go. I think it's still selling incredibly well now. We're gearing up for its first Christmas. So, I mean, if anything, maybe Nintendo's playing it a little safe, right? Because it's like, what was that launch slate? A bunch of upgraded Switch games.
Well, that might be Nintendo's point of view, and that might be rational from their perspective. But like, as the audience, it's underwhelming, right?
Well,
like I don't care if it makes sense from Nintendo's point of view. Like, I have not been motivated to play a game on Switch 2 other than Front Mission 3 Remake, and I've had it for 4 months.
Well, where does that bear out in terms of sales, though? That's what I'm curious about. Because if it's selling really well and people are buying stuff, I know there were complaints from the third parties at launch that were saying, like, our stuff didn't sell super well at launch, and Nintendo's like, oh, really? Because we sold 1 billion copies of Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's been, I mean, that was a problem on the original Switch also.
Like every platform for Nintendo, right?
Yeah, if you look at, like, it was worse for Switch than other platforms before it, but, like, I think it was, like, the top 25 best-selling Switch games were published by Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And it had not been that lopsided in earlier console generations. Number 25, I think, was, like, one of the Monster Hunter games, right? But, like, I mean, you think back to the Wii, and like, yeah, all your favorites are probably Nintendo published, but like Just Dance sold buckets,
Yeah, that had a good amount of third-party support that actually did pretty well. But in this period that we're in right now, Nintendo seems to continue to be more focused on itself. And I don't know, I think it's possible they just have a feel for what is going to work and what's not going to work. Because it's like, I'm playing Breath of the Wild again, and like, am I wanting a new Zelda? Sure, but I'm also like, it's really fun playing Breath of the Wild again, and it looks new and shiny. And I think Nintendo knows that thought process going through the brains of so many fans.
It does feel like, in a number of ways, Nintendo's MO this year is what can we get away with? Yeah. Like, can we charge $80 for Mario Kart? Let's see, right? Can we bump the price of the Switch 2 up this far compared to the Switch? Let's see. Can we get away with just making people spend surcharges to play their games on Switch 2 and take advantage of its hardware? Let's see, right? Can we get away with not having a launch Zelda or Mario title? Sure, let's see, right?
And they've done that before, though, but yeah.
Yeah, but it also didn't go that great. Like, it was a definite complaint people had when the GameCube came out that there wasn't a real Mario game, right? Like, it was Luigi's Mansion, and that got dragged in reviews because it wasn't a quote real Mario game. It's
true, but at the same time, like, I mean, if we're just talking about sales, and then yes, but in the years that have passed, Luigi's Mansion is a much loved game. it's like, but to the question of, does it satisfy the need or the want for a real Mario game at launch? No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I think, but Nintendo hasn't done that in decades, where it's always a Mario game at launch. The N64 was, I think, the last one, and then I don't think there's been any platform that's launched with Mario since, because we have to remember the handhelds too. So N64 forward, it's been different games. So you had Luigi's Mansion, then you had Wii Sports, then you had, Nintendo Land for Wii U, and then Switch was Zelda, but not Mario.
Wii was also Zelda.
Yeah, Twilight Princess. That's the new launch title. Just have a Zelda game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the Nintendo Direct, there were only a couple of Switch 2 specific games coming out that they announced. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, I think is what it's called, which looks really good.
It's Yoshi's Story 2, damn it. That's what they should have called it.
I'm very much looking forward to that game. It's very
Metro
cute.
Prime 4 is not a Switch 2 game?
Not only.
Split. Yeah, it's also on regular Switch.
And it looks good. I'm a little concerned that we still continue to get this very small trickle of information about it, but supposedly it's coming in December. So
it lost me on when I saw the scene of the motorcycle in the open world. It was pretty empty.
I said the same thing, and that has me worried.
Yeah, that was an odd showcase. It's like, I don't get it. I've told probably everyone at the table, I keep thinking of 3, right? Metro Prime 3 put you in the cockpit of the gunship, and it was like, wow, this is really cool. And then you were actually using it to get to different points in the game world. And it's like, well, it feels like the next logical step would be let me fly the damn thing. And instead, it's no, here's a motorcycle. And it's like, I guess. I mean, what does Samus have to do with a bike, right?
That might have been doomed as soon as they decided to make it a Switch 1 game.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But
I'm cool with the motorcycle. My question is just in terms of the footage they decided to show.
Exactly.
Is it because they don't have much else to show? Is it because Nintendo has told Retro, we don't want you to show anything yet? Just whatever you can show that doesn't give hardly anything away. Or they're so far behind that that's really all that they have to show. So
It is
yeah,
worth
it's this
saying-
test area that we're claiming is real. It's
Yeah.
a desert. Yeah, that's what it is.
You know,
Yeah.
like before, until very close to the launch of Tears of the Kingdom, nothing they showed looked like anything more than just Breath of the Wild again.
Fair. I get
that's
it.
true.
They did hold back definitely when it came to marketing until late. So hopefully that's what's going on with
I hope
Metroid
so.
Prime 4.
Yeah, because I love the Metroid Prime series. I love the Metroid series in general. I want it to do well. It's just I'm approaching it cautiously.
I get the whole Switch 2 has no games. Like, are you enjoying your 2 games you have? But I mean, I think it was last year when PlayStation stopped supporting PS4. Like, maybe even more recent than that. So I think you would have hoped that maybe the technology gap was bigger, that they would speed up that process, but I don't see it going away. There's too many units out there to just,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Switch 2 is selling big time.
It's already broken all
but
these
it's
records.
still whatever millions of Switch
It's like
ones that
200
are.
something million, I think. It's a huge number.
So,
it's
I mean,
insane. It's like one of the. It still could potentially surpass PS2. And remind you, this is the world where we were told with PS3 that's the last video game console.
You got to let go
will
of
not.
like PS3 Wii era game journalist discourse. You bring it up every 3 episodes and it's the same 2 statements.
Because they annoy me with their BS. There's no last console.
It's been 20 years, man.
Well,
bring it.
every time Nintendo consoles is for my Nintendo games. Third party, I'm buying somewhere else because it's never up to par, in my opinion, compared to playing it on something else. So,
Well, my usage of the system, like I said, I was very pleased with the controllers. If you think about it from a family standpoint, right? Because I kind of sort of have that usage going on because my students at the school I teach at, we have our game club. So I have to have it there for them to play and we share. I was so thrilled. I was just like, oh, thank God. I don't have to buy 4 controllers. Because I slowly pieced together having 4 sacrificable controllers on the campus. And I was like, every single one of them I could just use again for Switch 2.
there you go.
So that's cool. The backwards compatibility is cool. And the benefit of it is, like I said, because there's the paid upgrades, yes, and that's a little annoying. But then there's a bunch of them that aren't paid, where it's just pop it in, it's upgraded, and it runs better. Like, that's super cool, you know? And I keep thinking how the original Switch was this insane library of classic games, you know, a mix with the new stuff. And it's just going to get even more so because now it's backwards compatible and it's whatever is going to be coming out. So it's like, man, by the time this game console is 8 years old, I'm going to have like a 10 terabyte memory card in it or something because it's just so much, you know, to play.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I was just going to say, and then I've been impressed too that some of the games that are, you know, it's kind of to Dom's point where it's like the third party is usually better elsewhere. Some of the stuff that's been brought from the third parties actually is good though. You know, like Yakuza looks great. The Cyberpunk port is really good. And then I was surprised at the quality of Street Fighter 6. I mean, I might be full of crap, but I just downloaded 6 on my PS5 because it was on sale for like $5 or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm like looking at both and I'm like, it definitely is better on PS5, but it's like a hair better. Like I feel like it still looks really good on Switch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say was that I'm the opposite of you, Dom. Like I tend to prioritize the Switch over the other platforms. The only other platform I play is PlayStation 5, but I have been happy with the third-party support that I've been seeing. Like I was like Ryuga Gotoku's, they seem to be all in, like very like committed to the Switch and Switch 2, and I think that's super cool because I could just go play, you know, the rest of the series on the existing consoles. But if they continue to release them on Switch 2 and I can just keep playing on my Switch 2, I'd be happy with that. Yeah. Or, you know, the Silent Hill Crimson Butterfly remake that's coming out. Like that really surprised me because I tried to play that game in my very early 20s, just could not do it. I was just like terrified. But then seeing that they're going to remake it and that's going to be on Switch 2, I was like, yeah, give me that. I really do wish that they would put Silent Hill F on Switch 2 because I'm probably just going to have to play that on PS5, which is fine. But, you know, like that third-party support was pretty encouraging, and I hope they continue to get more of that. But yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like, you know, we've pretty much wrapped up our thoughts on that. But yeah, just like I think we're all kind of cautiously optimistic, which I think is like the right way to approach it right now. But yeah. Well, moving on from there to the Xbox news, to Game Pass, to the absolute just nuclear, the self-sabotage, the I don't want to say it's inexplicable because obviously there are a lot of reasons behind it, but to the average consumer, the inexplicable decision to significantly increase the price. And Dom and Robert, I think we'll let you guys lead this part of the discussion, especially because you guys Game Pass, at least, are you both now former Game Pass?
Yeah, I canceled mine.
Yeah, I'm currently former.
Yeah, so why don't you guys lead us in this discussion? What are your thoughts?
So just for those who are not in the know, here's what we have going on. They renamed two of the tiers, all right? So Ultimate is still Ultimate, and that was the one that broke the back of many. Mm-hmm. But you can get Essential, and I forget what Essential was. Essential was Core, I think. Essential is $9.99. And for your $9.99, you get 50 plus games to play. You can stream your games, online multiplayer, earn up to $25 a year in the store with rewards.
So this is like Xbox Gold plus a limited set of lower value.
Allows online play.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we have, and also benefits for games like League of Legends and Warzone, right? All right, and then you go to Premium. Premium was standard. And it's just so funny when you think of the wordplay. We shouldn't have called it standard. It was actually a premium experience. So that's $14.99. You get 200 games. New Xbox games published within 12 months of launch. Streaming games, $50 in rewards. League of Legends and Warzone rewards. And, of course, multiplayer.
Can I pause and ask a question?
Yeah.
How valuable are these rewards? Do you guys
I've
use
never
rewards?
touched them. Have you, Dom? It's like money, right?
Microsoft rewards. I only got rewards when I spent money in the store.
No.
Okay. And you get it for playing too.
But what do you
I'll
do
see
with
it.
them?
Do you ever see that notification?
I've only ever did it for gift cards, in digital gift cards.
But Dom, it's like for playing, right? Because I'll see it when I'm playing something. It'll say you just earned.
I think they got rid of that though.
I don't know. It just popped up for me.
Oh, really?
Day.
Is it like gold points and platinum points for My Nintendo?
I think it's something like that. All right,
Okay.
and so here's the deal breaker. Was the $29.99 a month for Ultimate? I'll go over the price changes in just a moment. So that's 500 games. You get day one launches of Xbox titles and other third parties. It includes EA Play and Ubisoft Plus Classics, Fortnite Crew, and then it makes a caveat of stream games, but at our best quality with the shortest wait time. Earn up to 100 a year in rewards. The same League of Legends and Warzone benefits and online multiplayer. All right, so now let's just go through. So Core, which is now Essential, was $9.99.
Yeah, that one stayed the same.
Okay, it did say the same. For some reason, I put $11.99. That's not what it is. So it's $9.99. Game Pass Premium went up to $14.99 from $11.99. But Game Pass Ultimate saw the biggest jump from $19.99 to $29.99. So
obviously this is unpopular. Why do you think Microsoft did it?
I think it's because of a number of factors. I think they spent way too much money on studios, and they can't keep up with what you have to pay to maintain all of those studios. Because it's like, so it makes no sense. You bought a bunch of studios, and what are you going to do? Close them, consolidate? Why did you even do it in the first place? I mean, were you just farming for IPs? I mean, that might be part of it, but theoretically, you got all those studios to make games. And as we know, with every streaming service out there, it's all about content. Well, how do you make a bunch of content? Have a bunch of studios. But I think what we're seeing is that because of the state of Xbox, particularly as a console and consumer interest, they did it probably at the worst time. You know, it's like, I was talking about this with Zack not too long ago. I was like, if you took Game Pass, but you just made it a PlayStation thing, right? Everything about it is the same except it's PlayStation. It'd probably be more successful, especially given PlayStation is only second to Nintendo. You know, they're the number 2 brand. And in terms of third parties and all, you know, Final Fantasy, everything else you can imagine that comes out, it's PlayStation, right? So you take Xbox, though, in its frankly weakened state. It's weakened state from Xbox One to now. You know, it's like, it's not like you did Xbox One, screwed up, and then came back with Series X and S and were on top of the world. It was like you kind of shrunk into not quite irrelevance with the Xbox One, but you definitely were knocked off your throne with PS4.
They did recover a bit with the One X. I think that was pretty well received, but obviously it's not at the same scale as like a full console generation.
No, and you know, I'd like to see what the numbers are, but you know, it's like, so you weaken your brand with Xbox One. You were on top with 360, but then One comes and now you're down. Then Series XS comes out, and you never do enough to get it up there. It's like you needed to focus on making X and S super strong. Good games, exclusives, and you have the IPs. You have Forza, you have Halo, you have Gears of War. You have everything in the Rare, IP catalog. Everything you can imagine. You could have did it. But for whatever reason, they did not. They were obsessed with, and they still are obsessed with this notion of it's a boxless future. It's just going to be Xbox, this brand, and gaming, and whatever can play it, can play it. But even in this current state, it's like, well, it's not on Switch. It's not on Switch 2. It's not on PS5. It's not on PS4. It's, you can technically play it on PC. And like a Samsung TV here and there is like Xbox Game Pass compatible. It's like, so your boxless future is still in the future.
Well, and your phone, right? You can.
Yeah, the phone too. And depending on the phone, right? You know, so it's just this really bizarre thing. And so it's like, you got to raise prices. Why? Well, because you have that floundering Xbox brand. Then you don't put out enough games to bolster your subscription numbers. I forget what Game Pass is at. I think it's like 30 million subs or something like that. But my understanding is that number is not where Xbox wants it to be, not even within a mile. So they're like, crap, it's not growing how we need it to. We put out Avowed, nobody wanted it. We put out Dragon Age Veilguard, nobody wanted it. Sales are much lower than, I say no one, but basically sales didn't meet.
Veilguard was not Xbox. Veilguard was an EA product.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. But I meant, so Starfield. Veilguard.
You can also shit on Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones also didn't do too hot. And then
Doom Dark Ages kind of came and went too.
I think that was multi-platform also though, or no?
Oh, it was on Game Pass though, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an Xbox studio. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. You're right. Yeah. See, so all these games are coming out, and not any of them are really setting the world on fire. Like Starfield, the most memorable thing is Az yelling "You're boring."
Yeah.
A year later,
Your California
that's
politics.
it. Yeah, and that's it. So it's so frustrating because look at Cuphead, right? That's a great IP, Netflix show, comics, etc. What do you do with it? Do you covet it and say, yeah, Xbox brand? No, it's here. It's on your Switch now. It's like, so I don't even get, what do I want an Xbox for? So you screw up the games. You don't have enough sales going on. And so, this is where you end up, where it's like, we got to charge $30 for Game Pass. And it will probably go up.
And I'm curious, the question goes out to both of you. What made you cancel? What was the straw that broke the camel's back for each of you? Or it's just like, this is not worth it anymore?
Yeah, I'll still probably pay for the $10 one, just because you need it for online play. So if I want to do that stuff, But I think it's like the red line for me for value. I mean, I was paying $20 a month for years, and even still, I bought the games 80% of the time. But now it's like $360 a year. I don't even have enough time to really play every Xbox release day one. Like it doesn't matter to me as much for that price point. And I think that's the feeling for a lot of people.
I see.
Yeah, this is where I'm not a current Xbox Game Pass subscriber. I've previously described that I just have used it for subscribe for a month, play through a backlog of things I was interested in, and then cancel. Right. But to me, it seems like Microsoft's decision here does make sense from their point of view, because it does seem like $20 probably was underpriced for the amount of for a sustainable business model for them. And it does seem like they probably just kind of thought well, if we can grow it, right? Their projections for what they wanted from Game Pass subscriptions was much more aggressive than what actually happened. But if they could, then those numbers probably made sense, and they could have kept it at a relatively low cost forever.
No, hang on. Before you go on too much further, I want to get Robert's perspective too. Why did he?
Sure.
What was the?
Don't lose
reason
your train
for
of thought, Zach. It was almost identical to Dom, although I did have a little remorse after because I was like, oh yeah, but I write about this stuff. And it's a lot easier for me to write about it if I have access to everything more quickly. Because what happened was I canceled and I looked at my dashboard. And I was like, oh shit, I got to erase this. I got to erase that. I got to erase this. I was like, there's a lot of stuff I had on here. But part of me does think, well, I want to own these things anyway. I don't want to be beholden to a subscription to have access to them. But it sort of reminded me what an also-ran Xbox has become. Because I was like, it's amazing how many games are on here that I was just basically renting. Whereas if I go to my PlayStation, I have some stuff, that I've downloaded for that subscription service, but then just a bunch of things I own. But 360. I just was like, how funny. Xbox 360, but not in the way you like. I was like, I don't want to spend that much. And just the thought of every month my credit card getting charged $30. Because, I'm a teacher. I'm living paycheck to paycheck here. And so I don't know. It was just a weird visceral reaction where I was like, man, I don't need this throwing me into the red because all of a sudden it charges me and I'm like, oh, crap. I guess I forgot to have 30 in the bank for Xbox.
It was something about this price hike.
Yeah.
It's substantial, and it's
so
it's $30 a month. It's holy crap.
It's funny too because you could just go down to the second tier, which is $14.99, and it's 200 games. But it's what are those 200 games going to be? It's going to be all the crap that's in the service. It's I don't want the 200 lame games, right? It's oh, Call of Duty ain't going to be in there, is it? So
right.
You could play Recore.
I mean, I've been wanting to. It's made by a studio comprised of expats from Retro Studios. But anyway, I couldn't do it. And I was like, I might go back in terms of there's the prepaid, right? So I was thinking, I don't know, maybe if I get a few months at a time and do it that way so I don't have to worry about it charging my card. Because like I said, writing about it, I'm I think I am going to have to go back. But just in terms of principle, I was like, no, go fuck yourselves and cutting it off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. You were in the middle of your...
Sure. So I do think this makes a certain amount of sense from Microsoft Xbox's internal point of view, because they must have been paying out the nose for day and date releases. Obviously development of their first party titles took a lot of money, and they're losing out on sales if it's on Game Pass. If it's a third-party game on Game Pass, they got to pay a premium to get it on their day and date, right? So like maybe it was unsustainable in a way that just with the subscriber numbers they had, like they had to do it in order to continue providing day and date. Maybe they had to increase the price. Like I get that, but like from the consumer point of view, to your point, Dom, like you can only use it so much, you know, like you only have so many hours to play. The fact that you now also get like League of Legends benefits or something, right? Like who cares, right? Yeah. Unless you're a League of Legends player, because you can't be everything. You can't do everything. There's like kind of
Fortnite crew. There's
like a realistically for the consumer, there's a cap for how much value they can get from a service like this. And it does, like, to me, it seems like Xbox is no longer really trying to drive growth with Game Pass Ultimate. They're just kind of like, well, this is what it needs to be like a premium service. If people want it, great. And I think they're more focused on trying to, I mean, like the long-term play for growth probably is people on their phones, right? So they're trying to get people
the Xbox Play Anywhere stuff.
Play Anywhere, like worldwide, right? Worldwide people with phones playing Xbox, paying $10 a month for Game Pass.
But see, the thing that frustrates though is it's like their messaging isn't even consistent. It's like, yeah, there's no dedicated Xbox, blah, blah, blah. By the way, go spend $1,000 on the, was it the Ally?
Yeah.
The Ally X.
I'll say this, though. That thing is a portable PC.
Yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
an Xbox.
But it's branded, you know? It's
yeah,
like,
no, I get that.
Yeah, it's like you didn't even just partner, because like, what was the original one? Just the ROG, right?
Yeah,
just the
ROG,
plain old Ally.
yeah.
But they made a point of acting like there was some connection there, right? Then they go all out and say, now it's branded.
Yeah.
We have our name on it. It's like, so... It gets confusing. It's like, so are you a thing? Are you not? Are you a platform? Are you not? It's like, what ultimately is going to be best in the long run? They're talking about raising the price again for the consoles.
Yeah.
Because of whatever. But it's like, so I don't think you understand your relationship here. If Nintendo shows up tomorrow and tells us that Switch Online plus expansion pack is going up to, I don't know, $20 a month or something, you're talking about the number one console from the number one, service. That's a little different from, hi, do you remember us? By the way, we're $30 a month now, and if you go buy the console, it's going to be another $100. And it's like, who are you? It's like, why am I giving you more money? It's like, and then when's the last time you gave me a great new Gears of War game? Oh, you did recently. Oh, what? It's on PlayStation? Why do I need you?
Yeah. So I'll just have a couple thoughts. So I feel like Xbox has made good decisions. I feel like sometimes timing is everything. From the Xbox One generation, they were on top with 360, like Robert was saying, but Xbox One was projected as this, all-in-one service for your TV and streaming and all this stuff. And we're like, we just want a console, They lost a lot from that. And they're prioritizing in that. And then now, they're sort of transitioning out of this console space, and the writing's been on the wall for this, and the sales numbers do not lie. I think the PS5 has outsold them 6 times or something in this generation. What was I getting at? But my thing is, they're going to go into this market against in PC, and they can't mess with Steam. Like that's what I see is gonna really be their fall. It's like they're not gonna mess with Steam, so they panic purchase they were better off not purchasing the whole Activision deal and spending all that money. I think if they just stuck to their own stuff and maybe a couple smaller studios, they probably would have been better off and not panicking like this.
Yeah, they bought.
That's what I feel from them is they got to produce value for this thing so that when everything is in a PC space, you're choosing to go Windows instead of Steam.
There are some advantages that they have over Steam, at least in like the handheld space, because of DRM. There are some games that just don't run on Linux because of like the kernel level Windows DRM, in the PC space, right? Because there's kernel level DRM that prevents certain games from running on Linux on the Steam Deck natively. And so if like this ROG device can do that, and you can play Call of Duty and you can play Fortnite and all these things on that, there's a real benefit there. So it's like it's not obviously Steam is like the incumbent here by a large margin. They're definitely who I'm rooting for. But by the same token, like this push from Microsoft into the like to reaffirm their place in the PC space and like the ROG Xbox and things like this is like for my money, like the most interesting thing happening in like the video game space right now, because I don't know how that's going to shake out 100%. I think Steam's the favorite on PC, but like it's unclear, right? And I feel like Sony's role, Nintendo's role in the ecosystem very clear, Microsoft really in flux, and that makes them, even if it doesn't seem like they're super successful, there's more potential both upward and downward for them than the other players.
Well, plus I think too that like if Steam push came to shove, right? Like let's say Xbox enters the space and they're like, oh wow, you know, they're actually making a dent. Well, then maybe you change your DRM policies or something. Like these seems like things that you could counter if you needed to, if you're Steam, right?
They can't. Because the DRM is coming not from Steam, it's coming from the publishers of those games, right? It's like...
Well, then why wouldn't that impact Xbox as well?
Because Xbox, the ROG Ally is running Windows, right?
It's Windows.
Yeah. So like DRM that's written,
I get what you're saying. Because they're Linux and then the other one's Windows.
This is the advantage of Windows. Windows is like less well suited to handheld gaming in a number of ways, but this is a way in which they do have a distinct advantage.
I heard too that I don't know if it's the OS for the ROG, but like basically it's intentionally trying to kind of mirror Steam OS a bit as well. Like it seems like Xbox is kind of, they really want this to work, but I just don't know if it's going to. I mean, like Dom's going to get his, but I'm curious how many people are going to get it. You know, it's like how many people are going to go get that.
It's a niche product,
right?
I believe.
And and the Steam Deck's not necessarily niche, but it kind of is, right? Compared to getting a Switch, for example. So it's like, I don't know, just the whole thing with the Xbox. I don't get it. It's just so freaking weird. It's like you bought Activision, right? You bought one of the pillars of the industry. It's like it's Activision and EA. Those are the two big boys. You bought one of the big boys on the block, and then what are we getting for it?
If they said that they're not making Xbox this gen, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
honestly, just go all in on the studios, making games, providing ultimate. You know, partnering with like Asus and like whatever else.
And people who really want an Xbox will get some kind of ROG Ally type home product, right? It's like there was previously like a Steam machine, right?
Yeah.
That you can have like, there's like an older, this is obviously niche, but like home theater PCs, right? A PC you just plug in and then navigate with your controller.
They say the next Xbox, if there is one, is going to run Steam. That's like the biggest rumor right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's just interesting because it feels like, if anything, I mean, it's Windows, right? It's sort of like how Microsoft dropped the ball on phones. It's like they let Google take the place that should have been them. Because remember there were Windows phones? There was Android phones, iOS, there was Windows Phone. And it's like, you could have been in all these spaces and you should be. It's like everyone thinks of PCs, it's Windows. You know, it's like the only other one is Linux and that's still niche. So it's like, you guys are like, you were it. And then you rested on your laurels and here comes Google and now you have all this Android stuff. But it's like, in terms of the gaming future, it's like, well, if you're going to go console-less, then you really should start like thinking, how do we expand to where there is no point of entry that can't be overcome for the consumer? Because like, for example, the Samsung TVs I mentioned, there's certain Samsung TVs that will run Game Pass on it. Well, that's kind of cool. It's like I didn't have to buy anything. I just have a Samsung TV that happens to be able to play these
with
games.
a controller,
So what do you do to make that more of a thing everywhere? You know, and maybe then you have a shot. But I mean, otherwise you just continue to be this third pillar that's really low compared to the other two, and you ain't making much that has anybody excited. You know. I mean, you have Ninja Gaiden coming out. Like, there's been changes, right? There's been some recent developments where I'm feeling a little better about them. We got the new Gears on the way. They did the Gears remake, Ninja Gaiden 4. But it's like...
The last thing I'll say about timing, timing's everything. They literally just... Before they announced the price hike, they literally just said, we're bragging about Game Pass made $5 billion in revenue. And then like a week later, the announcement is, oh, we got great news. We have new tiers of Game Pass.
You know, the problem with that brag, though, is like that's the revenue, but like what's the expenses and what's the opportunity cost lost of
For
things being-
4.9 billion.
Yeah.
Because they're still got to soak up that purchase, right? There was
Yeah.
69 billion.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because this sort of speaks to the internet age we all live in with social media. There's just stuff you can't really quite get away with that you might have been able to a long time ago. Like if it was 25 years ago and you go and you put out a financial report, stroking yourself off $5 billion for Game Pass, most people probably wouldn't really hear or see it or know about it. Now it's all over the web. Like the smallest sites will cling to it, and it'll be in your thread on whatever platform you're on. And then a week later, we're raising the price of Game Pass. It's like, you motherfuckers just bragged that you made $5 billion off of it, and you want more money from me. What is this?
Well, also too, I mean, the fact that Xbox's president went and joined the board of Tyson Chicken at the same time that she's supposed to be serving as the president of Xbox. It's like there's truly something to be said for it starts at the top.
You know,
the future
I
is
think that was
player
an
and poultry.
overblown story, right? That's kind of an overblown story.
It is
Don't people
relatively-
do that all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll do that. But to Robert's point, that like that sort of news wouldn't be news, yesteryear.
Very true,
But
yeah.
now, because it makes you question how much are you actually dedicated to this brand if you're really more concerned about
Rebecca playing it.
chicken tenders.
Black
Yeah. Yeah, some
See-
people do Uber. She's selling chicken.
Yeah. so I mean, there is something to be said about the culture starts at the top. And I mean, how does it make you feel as an employee when it's like, oh yeah, our president's also focused on chicken?
And firing us.
Yeah, and firing
firing
us
us.
all.
Microsoft
Yeah.
had so many jobs.
Yeah, a bunch of
yeah,
layoffs.
yeah. So well, it all remains to be seen how this
It's
will
also
work
scoped,
out.
though, with the layoffs, though, because
Oh,
how
yeah.
many Microsoft employees are there?
Oh, yeah. But it all looks bad because, like what you said with the announcing, the revenue $5 billion, but then also we laid all these people off.
1,500 people.
Yeah,
Well,
so
speaking of billions, I guess we can end talking about the EA sale. Kind of
$55 billion sale to a consortium. The consortium includes
got Silver Lake.
PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners. In short, they were sold to the Saudis.
That's PIF.
Yeah.
And Jared Kushner is somehow involved in one of
That's
these
Affinity
companies.
Partners.
Yeah. So there's this question of, will this make EA better? That is the ultimate question on everybody's mind because they also took them private. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know really where EA goes from here. I know that certain game sites and people within the industry are concerned about certain IPs and how they'll be affected. I don't know that I really feel that, like me personally, like one of the things I saw was like they were saying, well, The Sims, how is The Sims going to be impacted? Because The Sims has certain content that might not jive with the politics and beliefs of the people who bought these games.
You would hope that
I was just gonna say, I don't believe that they really truly care about that. Like, I don't think that they're gonna take a deep dive into, well, what games have what themes and do we want to cut those out? Just simply because it's like at the end of the day, their ultimate concern is, does it sell? I don't know when the last Sims game came out is. I don't know when the last like DLC or whatever patch content was for a Sims game, but they do sell. Like those are sellers. It's a popular franchise. So I don't really see them really kind of going in and dissecting and being like, well, we like this, but we don't like this. Take this out for our own personal reasons. I think they just care about what sells and what doesn't. Now, that is there, but then there's going to be questions about other games they're selling that have bombed, underperformed for reasons of like poor writing, not well received by the audience because of it. But I don't think that has anything to do with anybody's ideology. It's just money. It's a matter of money.
Well, Zach, go ahead with what you were going to say.
I feel like if you try to meddle with The Sims in that way, like that's what the audience for The Sims wants, full self-expression. So you just have to hope that the new ownership is not trying to get in the way of that, because it would destroy the Sims brand. And probably I can't remember the name, but there was like an indie or maybe Asian-made Sims rival that came out in this past year. I can't remember. It had a weird name like Inzio or something. But like someone else will eat EA's lunch if EA's new ownership monkeys with the Sims. The same way that somebody ate the City Skylines ate SimCity's lunch when EA mismanaged SimCity.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, I think it's funny because it's this sort of reductive approach to the Saudis that these people are taking, if you think about it, or it's like they're just assuming that they're these like religious zealots with scimitars running around who are going to butcher all the IPs. It's like it doesn't make any sense to think that way. Why would you invest in it? Like, have they announced that we're on a holy war against inappropriate content in video games? Like, that's not what they're saying. And if you look at the Saudis and that part of the world and the development and all that, it's like, in some ways, are they doing it wrong? Yeah, like, I think some of their skyscrapers, like, they don't have sewage systems. There's like this endless barrage of trucks taking the sewage in and out. So are they perfect? No. But what they're clearly trying to do is globalize. They want to be a world influencer. And media is one of the most crucial ways you do it. So now to that end, I think what you're seeing is a lot of these people who are, working at different studios for EA who are panicking, and they're taking to Blue Sky and social media, and they're saying, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I think what you're really seeing is that they know that they're cooked. They're cooked because they know they haven't been producing content people want.
Yeah.
And you can try and see. So the silver bullet, if you're one of these workers, is you try to tether it to emotion. And so you say things like, well, you're going to take away the content in The Sims that's really pushed us forward and done this and that. And so what happens is if you don't care, if your reaction is well, then you look like a horrible person, right? But what the reality is by saying that, you're trying to cover yourself. You're trying to blanket yourself, saying, well, see, I create this thing that's really important in The Sims, and so you can't get rid of us. And in reality, it's like, no, it's like, we can continue to have everything that's in The Sims and get rid of the dead weight. And if you look at, the aforementioned BioWare, Veilguard, right? It's like you produced the game nobody wanted. I'm sorry. It's like it just didn't come out very well, wasn't engaging, and it had story stuff that just didn't appeal to people. You saw the same thing with Concord. It's like Sony's seriously sitting there thinking they had the next Star Wars. It's like internal discussions allegedly that they were like, this is going to be our Star Wars. It's like,
I feel like the product that is Veilguard would have been good enough if it was produced on a small enough budget, because there is an audience for it. It's just not big enough.
But there's an audience, but also, was that audience a Dragon Age audience? See, that's the other thing, is it's like, no one's saying you can't make these games. You can't make this content. You can't do, etc. The point is just where you're putting it, how you're executing, and is it drawing in people? And so if you show up with Dragon Age and it's not appealing to that crowd, if you're the three entities that bought EA, you're just going to be looking pragmatically and saying, yeah, you're chirping on social media, but I'm just looking at what happened the last time you made a game. It didn't work out too good.
Yeah, that fan base is already fractured. Like, Dragon Age Origins fans have never shut up about disliking Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 fans have never shut up about disliking Inquisition. Like, every game in that series has been a really weird sequel.
And it had the political divide of that game, too.
But see, that's the part you can't ignore. Because, like, people talking Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Origins weren't talking politics like they are for this. But I think that...
Yeah, the ecosystem of, like, talking about politics in games is very different than it was when Origins and 2 came out. Even though if you don't go back to those games, they're very stridently progressive in their politics.
Which kind of speaks to the situation, right? Where it's like, we're a lot, not you or us, but like people act like the progressive stuff never was there. It's like, yeah, it was there. It's just, did you do a good job of executing it? And you clearly didn't. You did something that just didn't work.
Anyhow, like, I do think BioWare is probably in trouble given how their recent games have performed, not just Veilguard, also Anthem, also Mass Effect Andromeda, right? They really haven't had a unmitigated win since Inquisition, which was in 2014. It's been a while. But I do think that Like I think that's just the state. Like the quality and market performance hasn't been there for BioWare. I think Sims is probably safe just because it is a moneymaker, right? But I do think that there is a risk that like Saudi ownership would affect like the kind of content you'd see in like a Battlefield game. It affects the kind of like theaters of war you'd see in a Battlefield game, or the kind of stories you'd tell there.
Well, again,
Good thing Madden is a money printer.
yeah, well, we're assuming,
And,
right?
Yeah, and football club they call it now. Yeah.
I would like to know because it's like, all right, will they affect it on that level? Because there's the pragmatic aspect of this, right? Because I'm worldly, but Zack can be a little more worldly. He explained to me how a leveraged buyout works. So this was a leveraged buyout, right? So these people had to borrow money to get EA. So the way it was put to me is you need a much faster return on investment. So you are pragmatically going to look at BioWare and probably say bye-bye in some way. Because I was thinking about this recently. I was like, I think the only people who probably really consider BioWare to have a lot of name cachet at this point are people who are like my age. Because my friend group when we were in college, it was all about Mass Effect this, Mass Effect that, and the Dragon Age games.
Yep.
And now you flash forward to 2025, I think your average kid in high school, and college, they're like, "Oh, I've heard of those games. I've never played them, but I know people like them." And then the new stuff they're not playing. So
Yeah, Larian and CDPR are the hot shit now.
So if you're these three entities, you probably would just say it ain't worth it. The name ain't there, or we can keep the name, and maybe one day we'll revive it. But we're going to just close the studio for now.
That's where I think the panic is coming from. I think that the industry. And especially inside of EA, they know that somebody's time is coming. They know that they've spent too much time now just kind of producing games that haven't been performing and really not being held to account for it. It's just kind of like, all right, well, it's another flop. Let's move on to the next thing. Now they have ownership that's saying, no, you can't keep doing that anymore. At least I think that's probably what's coming, is that these people, again, to Robert and Zach's point about the leverage buyout, needing that faster ROI, like, yes, somebody is going to get axed, and BioWare seems like it's probably the first on the chopping block.
I think that's going to be a small piece of the big picture. Like, honestly, that might have been coming from BioWare anyhow,
But, I mean, maybe, but maybe not. But
like,
also, too, like, how fast would it have even been coming?
But I think the bigger difference is going to be, like, if you're looking for return on investment, you're going to... What I would expect more than anything is them milking Battlefield players, milking FC players, milking Madden players for more money, because those are their big money makers,
Even The Sims too. That's another big one.
Sims too. And I think, like, to the extent that the financial realities of a leveraged buyout factor into this, what I would expect is more like aggressively predatory practices, more microtransactions, things like that.
Yeah.
Because EA has walked back from like the worst of their loot box excesses with like Star Wars Battlefront 2. Expect more of that, more creative ways to do it, more battle passes, things like that.
I'm on the fence about that. I honestly don't know if they're going to return back to that status quo of a ton of predatory behaviors, because like I said, these people care about... These people, meaning the people who acquired them, care about money at the end of the day. Like these investment firms, that's what they care about. And so I don't know that they want to risk pissing off the consumer again by doing that and just basically walking it all back and starting all over. I don't know if they're going to do that again.
But the average consumer now, reports show, buy 1 or 2 games a year.
That's true. Yeah.
So this, that's one thing Microsoft has a stranglehold on. EA has a stranglehold on. Something that Sony doesn't, for PlayStation or whatever, the live service stuff.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft is in the phone, the App Store and stuff, with what's it called, King?
Yeah.
All these microtransactions, they have a stranglehold on that. So
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder. It's weird because it's like part of you wants to say, oh, well, the Saudis will be hyper conservative, and I'm like, well, let's play the politics game, right? I mean, it's like if you are this political entity, right? You're the Saudis. Maybe you don't like America, so you're like, you know what? Leave all that progressive messaging in because it causes problems. I don't know. It's like you could approach that any number of ways. I really think what it just boils down to for them is they're like, I don't really care
too much about the messaging. What I care about is, are you selling? So I don't think the Saudis and Kushner and any of the others are going to be like, well, how progressive is this game? I think they're looking at it and they're just going to be like, is anyone going to buy this, right? Because it's like we've never, within the past recent history of America, right? Progressivism will sell and work. I mean, look at Will and Grace. Will and Grace is in the 90s, gay leads, all these people watching it, enjoying the show. Like progressivism has always had a place in our pop culture and media and entertainment and always will. The question is just, how are you going about it? Is that all you're focusing on? Are you giving me more Concord? And I feel like what these new owners might be doing is they would look and say, oh, you're showing up with a Concord. I'm not going to bother even trying to market that. You're not even going to make it. Like, we don't want it. No one wants it. Do something else. And that's what you might start to see more of. And that would, again, that's what's freaking out, I think, these devs, is they're like, well, I'm here for the politicking. I'm here for trying to do, whatever. And that's probably not going to fly. It doesn't matter what the messaging is. It's, you're not giving me good product. You're giving me message. And I want you to come to me with good product. And if your message works in the product, we'll hear you out.
I think in the big picture, the politics angle is going to be irrelevant here. Like, I don't think that's going to like make or break EA or what the Saudi investors are really going to be focused on. I do think there's a risk in the case like Battlefield that the contents of the games actually shift or are constrained in some way in the future.
They're all just fighting Russia from now on.
But like, BioWare was already destined to be a footnote, honestly, after 3 duds in a row. So I don't really think culture war stuff is as important as like the bigger picture of like, are the investors going to put pressures on EA that EA cannot match, and is EA going to get like sold off or implode as a result of that? Like sold for parts or whatever.
I just, like I said, in terms of BioWare, my one asterisk here is that I don't know how quickly, if the status quo is continued as is and they weren't acquired, I don't really know how quickly BioWare either would have been shut down or just kind of, or whatever, dissolved. I don't know. Because there were no adults in the room. Like, it was just people who kept giving other people chances. I mean, look at what happened with Veilguard. I mean, this decision to add writers on, it's like, why are you adding this particular person on? They don't even have any experience, and on and on. It's just like, it was too much of like the difference between being a startup and then getting acquired by a major company. Like, now you have people that are actually holding you accountable and saying, okay, the way that you ran this startup before, where you just have people who are the nepotism and all the other stuff that's going on, and you're not actually producing anything of value, and you keep giving each other chances, we're not doing that anymore.
So senior staff that worked on like Veilguard, including like the director, jumped ship immediately, right? I think it was already the case that BioWare was destined to just be like a support studio, not really doing like their own marquee products. Maybe they do like, I don't know, another like remaster collection of some of their past work, but that's about all I would expect from them. They're going to be like the second studio working on some major game
on
right?
Battlefield.
Is that actually what they're doing right now? It would not surprise me if that's what they were doing, right?
That is probably what they're destined for. Well, this is a disruptive move because these are players coming in who aren't part of the club. And so if you look at the reaction to what's happening, it's creators taking to their social medias, right? Well, who comes in and amplifies it? The games media. And then you think of the kind of bullshitty terms that we've been getting for the past couple years now. Number of players.
Yes.
That's not number of sales,
right.
But they love to tout that now. And of course, who comes in and parrots it is the media. So you have this kind of mechanism in place where you have BioWare, and BioWare prior to this buyout probably should have been shuttered. But EA didn't shutter them. There were rumors too that they were going to shut down their main studio, which would have just basically meant BioWare dying. Instead, they did what they could as quietly as they could to reprimand them, but not totally destroy them, because the reaction in media would have been bad. It would have been, oh, they're punishing BioWare for blah, 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 blah. And the journalists would have backed it up. So instead, EA is like, no, we'll fire the dude, but not say we fired him. And, we'll do this, we'll do that, right? And instead, what's happening, these new people come in and they know they won't play that game. And again, that's why these workers are panicking. It's like, oh shit, these are real bosses. Like they're not going to care if IGN puts out a scathing article because they shut down BioWare. They're going to say, we just spent $55 billion, don't care.
Yep, and they're going to be like, I'm sorry, I don't care that you worked with this person on another project. I don't care that you have the same values. Is this person the right person for this project, yes or no?
I don't think they're going to be involved on individual personnel levels with this stuff. Like studio level, project level, but I don't think that.
It depends on if they have. I mean, they're obviously going to have a say in some level of personnel, probably at the highest levels. So if they decide that they want to take people out, put people in, and then that has a trickle down effect to the lower level managers, to mid level managers, there will be a difference.
It's going to come down to the projects. I think to Zach's point, they will be cutting just at the bigger areas. That's where the focus is going to be. But then you do that, and let's say a project looked fine on paper, and all of a sudden it comes out and it's poo. You're going to be, these three companies saying, well, I don't get it. We're being pragmatic. We okayed, game X, and it came out and nobody's playing it. What's going on? Then you might start to get into the minutia and saying, well, who's working on it? What was that? What is the game? Like, show me the game. What's in it? Then they might start going, oh, okay, so there was this and that, and this person worked on it. And, oh, look, that person also worked on Veilguard, and they did this and they did that. Tell them to go. Like, you might see that eventually. I think the moves right now are going to be bigger, faster, broader, and not into the minutia too much.
Yeah, no, but even just doing something like ripping and replacing a CMO. A CMO can absolutely have very strong ideas and thoughts about how they want that entire department run, and then that impacts the higher level managers down to the mid level managers down to the ICs.
Sure.
So if you do something like that for, say the marketing department or whatever other department at EA, it will make a difference.
So board members are going to concern themselves with questions of like C-suite personnel. I don't think it's going to have that much effect on the rank and file, except insofar as the rank and file are part of a larger organization that is getting cut for reasons like just strict financial reasons, right?
I would just like to say, ignoring everything else we've been talking about, it's just sad when you look at EA and think of what it's come to. Because it's like, for gamers, it's no different than people who like comics or who like movies, right? Like if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, and I have like family members who are, you love that IP so much, you don't give a shit what terrible things Disney is doing. You will always be a Star Wars fan, and all you can think about is the first time you saw Han, Luke, and Leia, and blah, blah, blah. EA, in video games, it's similar. It's like we have these games that we play and you love, and you have such super strong memories of them. My memories of EA, like a lot of people hate EA, right? When I think of EA, I think of SimCity. I think of SimCity, and I think of Maxis, and I think of SimCity 2000, and how much I loved that game as a kid. Like, it is a formative game growing up for me.
I think of Rayman, and I think of watching you play Rayman.
No, Rayman's Ubisoft.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Can anyone at this table...
I forgot.
Everyone at this table, name the most recent EA game that you love.
Henry Hatsworth, obviously.
Which was a DS game, right?
No, you're not getting my point. I'm not saying recent. I'm just saying it's been a slow thing with them, right?
It's not been a slow thing, man. Like the game you just named is from like 2007.
No. Listen to my point. What I'm saying
Split
is
fiction.
Split fiction.
Okay.
My point is just that there are games EA has made across the years that mean a lot to people, and they have different IPs that matter. I mean, look at the sports alone.
EA? I don't know.
It might be.
I don't know.
Look at Madden. Look at FIFA.
Just keep throwing out names.
It might have been like published by EA, but it was developed by. I mean, that guy's like Spanish, right? Whatever.
Look at Madden. Look at FIFA or Football Club. Those are games people love. Like, you absolutely love those games. And to think that now the company has been, made private, these three cold entities have come in and are just, they're just looking at it purely in terms of how do we make money with this thing. And you think of the stuff that everybody cares about that's attached to it. And that's the sad part to me. Like, I know somebody who absolutely loves The Sims. It's like one of her favorite games. She plays it all the time. It's like these things matter on that level. And now we're at this point where it's like, we're talking about BioWare probably is going to get the axe. It's like, I remember my friends were obsessed with Mass Effect. I play tested Mass Effect 3. And I remember walking in And because I didn't know, right? And so I see it on the screen. It's like, oh, Mass Effect 3. And so, you can't talk about it, right, when you check it out. But I did tell my friends, I was like, so I got to play Mass Effect 3. They were losing their shit. Like, they thought that was the most awesome thing ever. Like, this stuff matters. And now it's like,
Yeah.
here we
Split
are.
Fiction is EA, but Haze Light.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to take away from that, like the 360 era triumphs that they had, but they were 360 era triumphs, man. Like it's been like not just BioWare, it's been like more than a decade since EA has had like something outside of sports and The Sims and Apex Legends, which I'm not saying any of those things don't count, but it's like it's not the crowd that buys like Edge magazine or whatever, right? It's not the crowd that reads IGN, right? It's not us.
So the only EA game that I've ever liked, looking at this list of their franchises, is Alice Madness Returns, and I can't forgive EA for killing the third game that was supposed to come out. They killed it. They just straight up said, we're not interested in investing in the third game.
You're gonna start lobbying the Saudi government.
And American McGee they kept trying. He kept trying so hard and going back to the well and kept trying to ask EA, and EA was just like, no, we don't want to
Officially changed his name to Saudi McGee.
Yeah.
Well, this just speaks to the transformation that's been going on for a long time now. I mean, once you created the digital marketplaces, once you made things like Unity and Unreal Engine just free to download, you completely democratized the industry. And now you have a game like, Silksong that comes out that is from a smaller studio, but is going to sell a shit ton of games. More games than some of these AAA titles will put out. And it's at the point now where these studios you've never heard of have taken the place of bigger companies. Like we just mentioned in this episode, BioWare means something to me. It means something to somebody who's like 40 or in their 30s. But if you go to somebody right now who is like in middle school or who is in high school or who's in college, they're going to look at you and say, I don't really know who that is. Or, oh yeah, my brother, my uncle played Mass Effect. He told me about that 100 years ago. And everything's just slowly changing. And there's some stuff that still remains relevant, like Nintendo and Pokemon. And then others that have been mainstays for so long, and they're just slowly going away. And a lot of it is from that internal rot that is now crying on Blue Sky because they're afraid they're about to get the axe.
Well, speaking of Nintendo being more relevant, we'll end on a quick note just about Nintendo Pictures. Nintendo had released this very odd, just with no fanfare. It didn't even have a caption other than just the words, the title, Close to Me. Close to you. And it was a video, short little video of a mother playing with her baby, and then she leaves the room, leaves the baby alone, and then the baby starts interacting with some sort of invisible creatures that are playing with it and messing with it in like a positive way. They released... People noticed in the video, in the background, in kind of the blurred background, you could see a Pikmin like kind of run underneath the crib. Then they released the second video and just confirmed, what people were thinking, that it was Pikmin, especially because people were saying how Pikmin are not visible to humans, so it kind of reinforced this idea that it was Pikmin, and then they confirmed it. So, and then people had been wondering if the video was made in collaboration with Illumination or not. I didn't think it looked like Illumination's style. I wasn't counting it out. That doesn't mean that Illumination can't do a different style, but I didn't really get that sense. So now there's this question of what Nintendo's going to do with Nintendo Pictures. They've had this company for a while, since 2022. They acquired it. The company used to be called Dynamo Pictures. Like as far back as 2014, they were doing Pikmin short movies, and they originally were distributed on the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U eShops, but there's been kind of a dearth of content since, Nintendo content anyway. So, again, this question of what franchises are they going to focus on? Is it going to be movies? Is it just going to be these shorts? Nintendo has really been loving their shorts too. They've been doing them for Pokemon. If you go onto the Pokemon social media pages. They do all these really neat little animated shorts, and they do them in different styles. Some of them are like stop motion, some of them are anime. And then there's the Mario shorts, the My Mario that they've been doing, which are really cute. So Nintendo's really experimenting and keeping itself relevant. And then, of course, you have Pokémon Concierge, which is kind of a league of its own. But they've been experimenting with animation, and so I'm very interested to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of their IPs are well suited to this visually. I think it's really just like Metroid, Zelda, Fire Emblem that I think are maybe a little out of their reach for some like more cartoony vibes, I mean, if you want to bring back the Wind Waker aesthetic, maybe that. But like you could think of like how much play they could get if they put this team on like Animal Crossing material.
Animal Crossing, and I think Star Fox.
Splatoon.
Because Splatoon could be it too. Because they were supposed to do that like Star Fox movie or show on Netflix, whatever the heck it was supposed to be, and then that got canned. But they clearly saw a potential there for Star Fox to do well in some sort of animated short series. So my guess would be that Star Fox might be one of the first projects that they tackle. I don't know how they would do it. I don't know if it would be a movie, if it would be a show or whatever. That would be my prediction for what comes next for them.
I'm officially not predicting Star Fox.
Well, I looked at this and my immediate thought was Nintendo has to not be totally thrilled with having to, on any level, share its IPs, right? So that means the Mario movie, for all its success and the beautiful animation that Illumination did for it, you still had to depend on this Western studio to make it for you. And that also means Western interference on any level. And I think that Nintendo is probably like, we could produce this stuff in-house. It's like we make these amazing games that are filled with beautiful animations. If you have one more branch of the company, you zip it up a little bit and you start producing specifically just animation, like a Pixar type film, like a Minions type film. We can do that. And if we do that, we have full say in what goes in it. Because let's say you take that Netflix show that was going to be Star Fox. Well, can you imagine the talks? My God, like I don't even want to know what insane things were said about the characters and what they should or shouldn't be. And Nintendo's people are probably just sitting there like, oh my God, if we could just make this ourselves, we wouldn't have to listen to any of this. And also probably thinking, we know it could work. Some executive at Netflix might say, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. Whereas we're just sitting there thinking, no, we know it'll work. People like the games. Now, does that mean it would work? No. Does it mean they could make a shitty show? Of course. But I think that they're probably thinking the benefits would outweigh everything if we make good product, it goes out, and people watch it. If Nintendo internally had made the Mario Brothers movie, every bit of it was the same, except Nintendo animated it, it still would have probably made $1 billion. I don't think Illumination added or subtracted anything in terms of sales for that movie.
I think that's all like you're putting too much into that hypothetical. Like if the movie was exactly the same, but the movie wouldn't have been exactly the same if Illumination didn't make it.
That's not my point. My point is that movie made $1 billion, right? Why would it not make $1 billion if you took Illumination out as the production house and Nintendo in? It's the same movie.
You're assuming it's the same movie. That's what I'm saying. Like you're baking that assumption into your question, so the question doesn't make sense.
So if Nintendo makes its product and it's good, I'm saying Nintendo itself has enough cachet that they could be successful.
Nintendo has cachet, but they don't know how to make a movie like that.
Well, now you're assuming that. We don't know.
Why did they work with Illumination in the first place?
I mean, Nintendo's getting its feet wet, right? Look at Marvel. Marvel Studios began and they partnered with Paramount. And then they're like, we're pretty good at this. We don't really need Paramount. And then they splintered off. So Nintendo could be looking, and whatever extent they're involved in producing the Mario movie that came out, they're like, oh, okay, you do this. Oh, okay, you do that. Oh, this is how you navigate, promoting and whatever within Hollywood. We can do that. We just have to have a studio now that can. So I don't see anything stopping them from doing that.
Yeah, I think that they definitely needed a studio like Illumination to begin with, because they had no experience with navigating Hollywood and navigating the markets like that. But now that they've done it, I do think that maybe it's a little ambitious after only having done one movie, but now they're actually in the middle of making a second. So maybe now after the second movie, and they're making the Zelda movie too. So that's 3 movies that they're going to have under their belt. maybe they are thinking, we can do this ourselves now. We understand how this works.
Yeah, I'm sure Nintendo would like to be more independent with this stuff. But it's more than just production or learning how to write a movie. And how to produce a movie. It's connections too, right? Like if Nintendo had made this movie themselves without Illumination, maybe they wouldn't have gotten Chris Pratt and Charlie Day and Jack Black and Anya Taylor-Joy and et cetera, right? Like they've built up some cachet because they worked with Illumination and put out this movie that was well received. And like, look, like Nintendo's IPs mean a lot to people, but like the Mario movie is like an Illumination style movie, right? Like it's in a Minion style movie, same kind of sense of humor, same kind of pace, right? Like Nintendo wouldn't have made that in the first place, right? So like how transferable that is to other IPs that aren't trying to be them aping the Illumination style, I think that's an open question. How much of this that they've internalized in terms of like processes and competencies and contacts, which is the big thing, I think that's an open question. I think like long term, they're definitely going to want to not be dependent on other entities like that for sure. And they're going to work towards that. And I'm sure this Dynamo Pictures or whatever it's called now is going to.
No, that's what it was called. Now it's just Nintendo Pictures.
Well, regardless of, what ends up happening from here, I think we're all pretty excited to see what comes from Nintendo Pictures, whether it's going to be just shorts, if they're going to be doing a whole bunch of different styles, and especially I think which Nintendo IPs they're going to focus on. And yeah, I mean, we all have different takes on this, but whether or not they'll end up shifting their movies to Nintendo Pictures and it also becomes their movie studio, again, that all remains to be seen. But I think that is a good place for us to wrap up.
Yeah.
And thanks you guys as usual for joining us. Maybe we can sneak in another episode before the end of the year. Who knows? Maybe not. That would be nice. But with us, it's never clear. You never know. But regardless, we'll talk to you guys soon. And thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.